Hello. Welcome. A little bit late this afternoon, because I'm trying out the new YouTube studio setup nonsense, and there are a few things I had to figure out right at the last minute. Like, for example, I can't load it on my iPad to get the chat up, so I had to go and find how to get the chat by going to the Facebooks and clicking on the link I posted this morning to get to the video so I can get the live chat. It's weird. It's nonsense. I don't know. Hey everyone, welcome. It is Sunday, it is Warhammer times. If you're not familiar with what this is, of a weekend, I do, mostly, I do my Warhammer stuff, which I don't do during the week. Normally, it's my time off, my Saturday and Sunday when I do my own thing. And normally I'm working on my army, the unholy, what they called? I forgot what they're called. The Unending Forces of the Holy Contrivance. I forgot what they were called then. Yeah. But lately I'm just actually catching up on my Warhammer Conquest. I've got a bajillion issues of that to catch up with. The plan is I'm going to get them all built, get them all assembled, and then once everything's assembled, then I'll start doing the painting, and then I'll start doing the filming of the painting. So for the coming months, we've got about 5 months left, I think. Coming months, it's just going to be assembling everything I've got. I've got up to issued, where am I up to at the minute? Issued something, 60 I think, 61... 62. I'm up to issue 62 so far, but I'm actually up to issue 38 today building, so yeah, quite a bit behind. So we're going to be working on that. Hopefully everything looks okay and sounds okay. I'll say I'm trying out the new YouTube studio, just so I can get used to it. But I think my microphone might be a little bit hot. I might be coming in a bit hot, so let me know if I'm a bit too loud or a bit too distorted or anything like that. I need to know, because I have no way to know, so. I need to clear my throat, 1 second. Sorry about that. I'll swig my enormous coffee. Aww. There we go. Oh, bit of a throaty throat today. Oh, right. So yes. So welcome. If you've not seen one of these before, basically, I will try and get some work done. Yeah. Oh, Gutholm's not quite in shot. Let me move you down a bit. Hello. Somebody's texting me. It's probably Dad or somebody. All good, mate. Sound and video. Oh, cool. Thanks, Dad. You could just put that in chat, but you've just spent money now to tell me that. But thank you. Yes, so I will be working on this. I'll try and do some work. I'll probably get one or two dudes done. But it's really just a chance for you guys, more than anything else, hang out in chat and have a good time. Hang out with me. You guys are keeping me company for 2 or 3 hours. It's just a nice thing to do of a Sunday afternoon. As always, I count on you guys to give me stuff to talk about. So I've got the chat here in front of me on the iPad. If you're watching this and you can see the chat, although it's not updating. Oh, hello. Why is that not updating? Let me press some buttons. Hang on. Why is that not working? Let me try something. I don't know why you're not seeing chat in that box. I don't know. It's clearly broken. Oh well. I'll turn it off then, shall I? I'll turn it off. There we go. Doesn't really matter. Nothing really matters. Doesn't really matter. If you can't see the chat, there's no point having it there. But yeah, if you want to join in, look at this space you don't normally see. If you want to join in, do come and join the live chat. It's really worth it, because I get to ask you questions, you get to ask me questions, and if you're watching, say, embedded on YouTube, on Facebook or LO or somewhere else where I've posted a link to this, click on the YouTube link that's down in the bottom right hand corner of the viewer, and that will give you a chance to join in the live chat. Then you can do the typey. If you want to get my attention in chat, put your comment in big fat capital letters, because my iPad's right here, and I try my best to read your comments. If you absolutely want to get my attention and know I can't miss it, you can click the little dollar symbol that's at the bottom of the chat window. That is a super chat, and that puts your comment in a coloured box and puts a little animation up here somewhere as well, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of floating there now, isn't it? My viewer number without the chat. I don't know. We'll leave it there. Can't be bothered. Anyway, we'll figure that out. I don't know. Yes, so if you want to do a super chat, you can do. If you want to, you can mail me. My email address is always here on screen, but it's unlikely I'll read your email during the stream. I probably won't get a chance. So, but you are welcome to. If you have my mobile number, you can, of course, text me. That's a good way to get my attention, as you've just found out. Dad just did that. But yes, if you... what else have we got? Yes, as always, I've got the Stream Boss battle going on up here. Excuse me, I've got a really bad throat today. Simon Reynolds, known as Kevin, is our current stream boss, our very good friend. He's the stream boss at the moment. He upended Aviad as the stream boss. If you want to become stream boss and have a chance to win up to 500 quid worth of Games Workshop or Forge World stuff, you need to get doing your super chats and tips through the tip jar, which is there, streamlabs.com/modelmakingguru. Basically, every time a tip or a super chat comes through, depending on how much you put through, a chunk of Simon's health off here comes off. You can see on the black bits where his health's come down already. It starts off with 100,000, and whoever gets him to zero health wins all the money that's been raised through the super chats and the tip jar. Basically, all that money goes into a pot. If you become the new stream boss, I tell you how much that pot is. You go onto the Games Workshop or the Forge World store and you tell me what you want. Or if you're in the EU or the UK, you go to Goblin Gaming, and I just order it all for you, and it turns up on your doorstep free of charge. So there you go. When Simon became stream boss, he won £499 and I think 74p. So it's worth getting involved. So at the moment he's down to 71,843. So quite a lot of way to go yet. That's about it. So let's just crack on, shall we? As always, quick shout out to all my supporters that make this possible. My patrons who support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/modelmakingguru. And of course my two corporate supporters. Goblin Gaming, the link is in the description below this video. Your one-stop shop for your tabletop gaming needs. Everything from Games Workshop to Malaphone, Conflict 47, massive loads of other stuff. 20% off all Games Workshop at Goblin Gaming. So give that a check out. Use the link in the description below the video, not the normal website, because the link down there actually is an affiliate link. So I make a little bit of income every time you order through that link. So make sure to use that link if you're in the EU or the UK. And also, of course, emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for your traditional model making needs. Again, link in the description below the video. So, how are you all? How are you all? I'm fine, thank you. I'm a bit stiff and well, in a clean way. I'm a bit tense and stiff today because I decided that as I have such a sedentary life, I need to do some exercise. So I tend to go to the corner shop each day, and I've decided something keeps moving in my room. It's weird. I've decided that instead of just walking to the corner shop like I always do, I'm going to walk to the corner shop and then go on every time I go, I'll do a big long walk around town rather than just go to the shop and come back again, which is my normal journey. I'd rather go to the shop and then off on an explore around town instead of just walking straight back. It gives me a bit of exercise. It takes me about 45 minutes. Nice half an hour, 45-minute walk. And yeah, did that today and I'm like, oh, I'm so out of shape. I should have eased myself in. So I didn't. I just dived in. So I'm a little bit crampy at the moment. I'll get used to it. But it's, this is the job I do. I sit at this bench all day, or I'm sat at my computer all day, editing and stuff like that, doing social media. Not a lot of scope to get much exercise. My previous job, when I was detailing cars, I was up and about and all over the place. This job, it's very sedentary. And I'm a bit out of shape now, so I need to get back into the swing of it. So even just something simple like, I've never been into like running and all that kind of nonsense, but even something simple like just, extending my walk to the shop, daily walk to the shops, make it a longer journey, a bit more awesome. So yes, I'm a little bit stiff and rusty today. I think my thighs are going to give me some grief for the rest of today, and then I'll be fine tomorrow. Yeah, so what's the plan for today? Well, today we have, I've got three of the next 3 issues lined up. I'm not going to get a chance to do them all. I doubt I'll do them all. David Sanderson, Fox at Constables, yes. No, not Constables, but I walk up to there and then back. So he knows what he's talking about. There's Constables. I go from the shops to, so without getting too specific for obvious reasons, I go past that place. Almost walk all the way to the village and back, just to go to the corner shop, which is nowhere near the village. So today we've got the Primaris Chaplain that I'm going to start on first. Then we have the Death God Plague Surgeon, who's neither a surgeon nor made of, well, he's made of plague actually. That one may not. He's not gonna bend you. The direct opposite. And then we've got the Primarni Captain as well. I'll probably get these 2 done. I might get all 3 done. We shall. And then after them 3, it's the big fat woodlouse tank. Big fat slug tank. Yes. I did find the instructions. But we'll start off with the with the Primular Chaplain. And now before we do that though, I shall have a quick look at chat just to give you even worse blue balls. Model making blue balls, that is. The first comment I have in the chat is Dad saying, yep, put a comment in the Boom Hut, mate. 3 shades, good man. I've got no idea what that's about because I can't see before the chat there. So there you go. So Dad is the first person I see in. I know Patrick was in. Patrick and more Draka earlier on when I set the stream up because they had a couple of comments, but they're long on those comments. So Dad and Raging Bassist is in. Welcome, Raging Bassist. Dad, of course, is one of your mods, as are Team Inept, Chris at Gross Models. I'll see if any other mods are in. They are your mods. They're lovely folks. They will keep you safe. They'll keep you protected. They'll look after you in chat. They'll get rid of any ne'er-do-wells in chat. They'll give them short shrift and delete them. But don't cross them, because they will rip off your head and poop down your throat. So, yeah, don't cross them. So Dad's in. Raging Bassist. Hi, Raging Bassist. David Sanderson is in. Welcome, David. Nim Cinderin is in. Hope you're getting settled in your new... It's not a new home anymore. I know it's been a few weeks now, but I hope you're settled in now. Nim. We have Rare Quilina is in from Malta. Hello, my friends. Good evening. I get with you guys from hospital. Why are you in hospital, Ray? I hope you're not just like horribly ill. I hope you're just like in there for a checkup or something. Take care. Get yourself better. If you're watching this on a Sunday in hospital, it can't be that bad. But take care of yourself, buddy. I hope you're okay. Nim Cinderin says, best bet Amazon for a good set at a good price. Anything specific, you need to check out your local craft store and get one you like. That's a good segue because yes, I now have a US Amazon store. How's that for a segue? Just in case you need to pick something up from Amazon, I have 2 Amazon stores, one in the UK and one in the US. If you are in either the UK or the US, if you want to get something from Amazon, before you go on Amazon and buy it, have a look on my US or UK store. If it's in there and you order it through that, I get a little bit of income from that. It doesn't cost you anything, but I get a little bit of income. If there's something that you want and it's not in one of those 2 stores, just let me know and I'll add it for you. It takes 2 seconds. I've not got any other locations yet. It's just the US and UK, but I might get more if I get a chance. How's that for a segue? Yes. There we go. Never miss a chance, eh? Never miss a chance. There you go. Thank you for that. Yeah, so there are links in the description below. Do check them out. So anything you need to order through Amazon, just have a look there first, just in case, because it's all the stuff you'll need for model making. If there is something that you want that isn't there, like for example, I have not individual paints, but I have packs of paints. If there's something that you want and it's not there, just give me a shout. I can add it. It'll take me 2 seconds. But it helps me out. If you're not wanting to support the channel any other way, you can indirectly help me because I get some income from that. So there you go. Let's have a look. Chris at Gross Models is in. Gives good thoughts to Ray in hospital. Yes, hopefully it's nothing too major. People are talking about things. That's not really very helpful for you, I know. Eric Graham is in. Afternoon, everyone. Welcome, Eric. Let's have a look. Who else have we got? David Sanderson, we mentioned already. I just saw the name Chevy Chase. I don't know why. More Draka. It says the first... What are we talking about? I've got no idea what the conversation is. The little bits of chat that I'm picking up, and I can't... More Draka just says the first 10 minutes of Christmas Carol. I've got no context for that. I've got no idea what it's on about. Let's have a look. We have Edward Leonard. Good afternoon. Good morning to all. We have Jamie Bone is in. Welcome, Jamie. Roast beef or roast chicken or something else? Surprise us. On a Sunday, I'm going to guess it's either roast beef or roast chicken, but you never know. You might surprise us. Frankie Goes to Hobbywood. Welcome, Frankie. How you doing, buddy? Red Len 08. Afternoon, all. Just Django, who isn't actually called Just Django, it's just called Django, so it's not really Just Django, but it is Just Django, but not Just Django. It's just Django, but not just, not just Django. It's Django. Is in. Welcome. Paul at Team Inept had welcome, Paul. And anyone reminded Fox of the time? Yes, there's a great big countdown in the top left-hand corner of the pre-roll screen. You can't miss it. Chris does point out he's on a count. No, Dad does point out he's on a countdown. No, I started a few minutes late because of technical difficulties. Chris at Gross Models, by the way, your issue with Stream Keys last week, it might be if you logged out of Streamlabs. If you log out and log in again, the new setup, it removes any Stream Keys. So if you log out and in, you might need to put your Stream Key back in, apparently. Yes. So like I said, I'm trying out the new YouTube Studio to stream, and it's pretty good, but there are some limitations that are a bit frustrating that I've just come across. Like, for example, it doesn't update the chat, so that little chat window doesn't seem to... I'll just double check it. Is it still working? Oh, we're back. Yes, we have chat again. Brilliant. I'll put you back in. There we go. I'll just tell you what I'll do. Let me refresh it. Let me refresh. How do I refresh it? I've got the wrong glasses on. And that's not helping. Can I refresh the chat? Do 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 do. I don't know. Quite possibly. Let's see. We'll see if the chat updates. Let's have a look. Osric says, I am here shouting, to which I respond with lager, 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 shouting. Team Inept shouts, welcome to Warhammer Sunday at our new start time of 3:07. Shut up. Like nobody else has technical difficulties. I should go. Yes, chat seems to be back. Jolly good. And the chat came back. There's an old Disney film. God, there's a terrible old Disney film. Wow, I can't remember. Just believe I just remembered that. Raging Basis said, the triangle has arrived. One can never know when triangle arrives. Triangle just is. Triangle is always. Dad asks the most important question. It's the most important question of the night. We've now got 40 watching. Dad says, what's on your bench and what's in your belly? Yes, the most important question of your life. What are you working on? What's on your bench? Where's my centre spot? There it is. What's on your bench, what are you working on, and what is in your belly? What are you going to have for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? Do tell. On my bench today, we've just talked about these things. My dinner tonight will be microwave lamb madras, because Mama Fox isn't very hungry today, and I'll just get something for myself, and I can't be bothered. Last night we had many salady things. Last night I made my little favourite salad, which is a big bowl, just basically full of all the salad. So lettuce, rocket, spinach. We had some peppers, which were really sweet. We had some shallots, which I chopped up. We had some spring onions, which I chopped up. What else do we have? Potato salad, coleslaw, and two of them Mattison's bendy sausages. You know the if you're in the UK, you know the bendy ones. Get them out. Two of them. Get them in the grill. Get them all crispy. Get them out. Slice them up. Put them in the salad. Munge it all up. Bit of salad cream. Done. I went to bed last night with an enormous belly, right? This is the best bit about the salad. I went to bed last night. I had my salad. It was about 6 in the evening. Had my salad, and then I had the huge salad belly. It was like that. Big fat belly. I was like, oh, big well paid for. Big fat belly. Went to bed, woke up, thin as a rake. Because salad's just leaves. It looks, you get a big fat belly because of all the gas, but when you just wake up in the morning, it's gone. It's just gone. It's great. But yeah, it was. I had the salad trumps all evening. They are pretty. We had mushrooms in there as all chopped up and put in all raw. So yeah, I had the mushroom trumps. Django says the most unpopular. He says that actually Django is completely banned because he says unpopular opinion. I actually like the Warhammer movie. Denied. No, I do not recommend that anybody voluntarily watches Warhammer Ultramarines, the movie from 2000 and whenever it was, 10 or 5 or 6 or 12 or something. It's massively biblical ass. It's terrible. Nothing. I gave up after about 45-50 minutes because I couldn't watch anymore. Nothing had happened, and it's terrible. And according to my sources, Games Workshop apparently washed their hands of it. Like, nothing to do with us. We don't care. It doesn't exist. They just denied it exists. But Django liked it, so clearly Django has no taste at all. Well done. No, I'm only joking. It does make Battlefield Earth seem like an awesome movie there, compared. So, yeah, it's not. It's not. It had so much potential, and then it didn't do any of it. The only thing I liked about it was the land speeders. They look quite cool. But other than that, no, nothing happened. Who else have we got in? We have ATTG, What Warhammer Movie? Oh yeah, Warhammer Ultramarines. It's about 10 years old now, and it's absolute garbage. I would recommend giving it a try. I mean, it's not. I'm only joking. It's not really that. I mean, it is. It's like the Star Trek original motion picture. You know how it's called the motionless picture because nothing happened for like 2-3 hours. It's like that. But the animation's a bit pants. The graphics aren't great. They're a bit PS2-ish, Xbox One, original Xbox type. They weren't fantastic. It was. I'd seen better video games at that time. So yeah, it wasn't great. And it also, there is another reason I hate it completely. It has Sean Pertwee in it, and I cannot stand Sean Pertwee. Sean Pertwee to me is just like, his voice just it makes me angry. Because he puts on this like overly dramatic voice all the time. He could be talking about cheese and he would have his dramatic voice. And it's horrible. I can't stand it because it's always the same. I can't stand Sean Pertwee. I just know that ruins it. So that's probably one of the reasons I hate that movie. Sean Pertwee's over the top dramatic voice. Imagine Sean Pertwee in a restaurant. Would you like some peas? I would like the peas with my dinner. Yes. That's how I couldn't. I won't do Sean Pertwee again. It hurts my throat. I need a swig of coffee now. I know that doesn't sound anything like him, but it's just something about his voice. I don't know. When he does a character, he just does his voice, and it just annoys me. Let's have a look. Nimsindrin says, finish on the bench, finish the tank until spring and better weather for priming. So Supernova Nataku Belly. Sorry, Supernova Nataku. Belly, pizza, Pringles for now, later, I don't know. Yeah, if depending on where you are in the world, if that's the one downside using rattle cam primers. Rattle cam primers are fantastic. They're dead easy. Pss, 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 done. It's a lot less hassle than an airbrush because you don't have the getting the airbrush out, cleaning the airbrush, all that nonsense. You just go and it's primed. And if you've got a good rattle cam primer, it's just massively easy. But the downside is, of course, you've got to do it outside. Don't ever use a rattle can indoors. Everybody will hate you and want to rip all your spleens out. Don't ever use them indoors. It's like a paint. It's horrible. It'll hurt you. It'll harm you. So don't use them indoors. But if you go outdoors, you've got to make sure it's not wet, not hot, not dry. It can't be too hot. It can't be too moist. It can't be too damp. So if it's raining or it's just been raining, if it's the middle of winter, you kind of are losing. So what I tend to do sometimes, if I've planned enough ahead, and especially what are people that do a lot of miniatures and stuff, what they tend to do is have lots of things built ready for priming. They build a lot of stuff over the winter ready for priming in the summer, so that in the spring and summer, so as soon as it comes to springtime, they can just dive in and prime everything and then make the most of the spring, summer and autumn when they can easily go and rattle can. I mean, you can still, I've done some priming outdoors in the depths of winter sometimes. If it's cold but dry, and you can work quickly, you can get away with it. If it's cold and it's humidity that kills it. If it's cold but crisp and dry, like the chips, then what you can do is you get your can of primer in a bucket or bowl of hot water, and I mean hot water, not boiling water obviously, but hot water keeps the paint in the can warm. Then if it's a quick job, like literally a few minutes, you can kind of pop outside, get it done, pop back in again, like just go outside the back door or something, or in the garden, outside your French window, and just, I've got a little garden table right outside the French window, so I just pop out, close the French window because we'll freeze the house, pop out, spray things quickly, get back in again. If it's a dry, cold day, you can kind of get away with it, because the two problems you've got when you spray outside are, if it's humid, it'll affect the paint, and this is the same for rattle can varnishes as well. If it's humid, you're going to get water in it, it's going to knacker your finish and probably get bubbles and stuff everywhere. If it's too cold, it's purely that the paint in the can will blob up on the nozzle, and you'll get blobs, and it'll be horrible. It won't flow properly. So if it's cold, if it's winter, it's just because it's cold. You can heat the can up in a bowl of hot water and just make sure it stays warm. But you have to work quickly and be in and out like that. So you can get away with it. But if ever you're going to risk it, try it on if you've got like a selection of models, try it on the one you give the least crap about before you try it on the rest. Let's have a look. Mordraka says, Belly, 4-day-old chicken stir fry. Ooh, that sounds dangerous. Bench internal panel of the Plague Rhino. Ooh. I put a little panel on the inside of my Death Guard Rhino on the door bit. I think it's from the kit, or it could have been a spare. I don't know. I put it in there. I don't decide if I'm going to paint inside my Death Guard Rhino yet. However, I think it has been decided now that, if you remember, I'm doing the Warhammer Conquest part work thanks to the courtesy of George, my very good friend George. You know George. He might be in the chat later on. You never know. But you all know George. He's contributing towards, or he's actually financing this whole project, this whole Warhammer Conquest. So when it's finished, we're going to split. I'm keeping the Death Guard. He's taking all the Space Marines, and we think we've got a colour scheme now. But yes, so I'm going to keep my Death Guard so I can go to town. So I don't know if I'm going to do the interior. I might do. David Sanderson says, "What dollar symbol?" Depending where you are, where you're watching this. Under the chat window where you type in your chat, where you go typey, literally right underneath the bit where you type, there's a dollar symbol. And you need to click that. That's how you do a super chat. Let's have a look. Raging Basis says, Belly, nothing, but I'm having burgers later. This is correct. Jamie Bone says, bench Tamiya 135th Mark IV with single motor. Cool. Belly, nothing, Sunday roast in a couple of hours. Told you. Sunday roast, always the best. But is that roast beef or roast chicken? Because it can be either. We still need, always roast lamb. So yeah, Sunday can be lamb as well. You need to clarify which meat there, Jamie. Steel Dragon painting on the bench. My PC, dust cleaning. Belly, I have haggis for later. Oh, yeah, haggis. I love haggis. ATTG says, Belly, Sunday roast, bench, Deathwatch, jump infantry. Cool. Dad, you've never answered the bench and belly question. You never actually answer your own question. I've noticed this. Jimmy Bones says, question, does anyone know if any model brand has synthetic rubber cement, as I need some to attach some pieces for the Mark IV? If it's Tamiya, do you mean like the tracks? Is it the tracks that you need to attach? Or is it something else? I know, like polycaps, you don't need to glue, but I know sometimes they have, like, the grills can be little sheets of, instead of like bits of photo etch, like mesh grills, they can be rubber as well. You could use, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could use super glue, CA glue, but it's a very messy option. And it's not the best option. Epoxy glue will be fine. I would guess, I'm not 100% sure, but I would guess Plastic Magic might work. It does work on most. It says ABS, styrene and plastics, other glues cannot, so it might work. Might be worth a try. Or of course there's always the old standby, PVA glue, if it's nothing too major. If they are tracks though, handy tip for people that used to do tracks on Tamiya tanks, because they're like the rubberized tracks. You can actually, where the two tracks to go together, you can just use a staple, because on most tank kits, that's either that bit where it joins is either going to be hidden under the mudguard, or it's going to be at the bottom underneath where nobody's going to see it, and you can cover it up in mud. So you can just put a staple in there. Or what I used to do is get the two little nubs and you heat a screwdriver and a candle, and you just, the design, so you've got two little nubs that go through a hole like that into the other piece of tank. You've got a little nub and you squish it flat with a hot screwdriver and it melts it into a mushroom shape. Not as easy though, some people just staple them. And if you want the tracks to not be a loop shape and actually adhere to the wheels, people often just use thread. Or you can use super glue. You can use super glue if you want. Some people actually use thread though, just to pull it down, because a lot of it you're not going to see once you've put mud guards on or weathered over it and stuff like that. Django says, since Ghost Lyle doesn't seem to be here, pineapple. I'm way back on the chat because people are talking about me being stiff. Oh, the chat and just jumped. Okay, I may miss a lot of chat now. Let's have a look. Ateris is in, says, afternoon Fox. I say he, it could be a she. Ateris says, hello Fox and friends. Belly, I am Brew, good girl. And last night's pizza, good girl. Bench, 1,000 Suns Rubric Marines. I've never painted one of them, but I want to because they look fantastic, fun to paint. Very Egyptian. Steel Dragon Painting says, on the bench, oh, you've done that one. We've done that one. Exercise, says Eric Graham. I know, I'm allergic to that word. Exercise, what am I watching, Mr. Motivator? Yes, I'm massively behind the chat. We'll have to get through this quickly because we'll never get any work done. Who's Patrick? Do you mean Pascal? Says Chris. Oh, did I say Patrick at the start? I don't know why I said Patrick. I meant Pascal, yes. And Django says, no, this is Patrick. And Chris says, no, you're not Patrick, you're Django. Just Django. Muse says, I'll have to send you my list, Foxy. Of what? Of stuff to put on the store. Cool. Candy Grab from Among Us says, so glad there's a model making guru-approved Amazon store now in the US. Yes, it absolutely. As I say, it's just all I'm doing is linking stuff on Amazon. So basically, it's just a way of that you can support this channel without actually parting with any extra cash, basically. Because all you do is you go and order something. If you order it through my store, I get a little bit of commission on that. It doesn't cost you anything. But if there is stuff in there, if you've got a list of stuff you want to buy and it's not in that store, there'll probably be tons of stuff that I haven't added. I've only added basic stuff and sort of essential stuff. So if there's stuff you need, I need to buy this, it's not in your store, just let me know and I can add it. It takes me like literally a minute. Oh, Raging Basis says, I asked about people's favourite Christmas movies. Oh, okay. Gross Model says, I've forgotten. ATTG says, hello, Fox. Are we still doing chat? Hi, Uncle Lewis, says ATTG. Hey, Lewis. Chris at Gross Model says, I have to ask ATTG, what does it stand for? And ATTG says, you will never know. But I shall call you A from now on, because it's easier to say than ATTG. If you don't mind, I'll just call you A. Hey. A totally tubular guy, says Django. Lewis Williamson says, I don't know either. There you go. Why don't you all just try and guess what ATTG stands for? Be nice. Be nice. No one I know uses the word tubular, so no. Trust me, ATTG. No one since 1988 uses the word, apart from California, uses the word tubular. Dude, totally tubular, dude. No, not anymore. So is the salad part of your new diet and exercise routine? Asks Stuart Hislop. Welcome, Stuart. No, it's just occasionally when I go to pick up, say, Mama Fox's pension, I grab some bits from the shop. And they do some quite good salady bits. And I have a thing for potato salad. Edward Leonard says, Bench, My Tank Bill Part 5. Belly, leftover Thanksgiving turkey, stuffing and mash. Yes, happy post-Thanksgiving to all our colonial cousins. Chris says, Belly, pigs in blanket flavour crisps. Bench, Baneblade. Yes. Picture in the Boom Hut on Paul's post. Oh, yes, there is a post in the Boom Hut. That's what we're on about. We've started a thing now every Sunday. I forgot this completely. There isn't. I think Paul does it every Sunday now. There's a post in the Boom Hut where you can put down a picture of what's in your bench and what's on your belly, or the other way around. Or you can put down anything you want to talk about. You're talking about in chat. If you need to add a picture, put it in that post, and it'll be your. It's like a little hub. If you're in the Model Makers Boom Hut, and I'll put a link here. If you're in the Model Makers Boom Hut, go to that post. It's just a good place to dump pictures and stuff. So while you're in chat, you can say, "Look at this," and it's in that chat, and then people will know. And we also want to see pictures of your food as well. David Sanderson says, Bench, still do my Plague Marines. Belly, some pasta concoction. That's the best kind of pasta. Unknown pasta. Django says, if you want worse storytelling, watch Kamen Rider Ghost. Never seen it. Ultramarines of Warhammer 40,000 movie released on the 13th of December 2010, says Mordracker. Yes. Who is Patrick? Says Gross Models. You'll never know. Triangle knows who Patrick is. Interzone 88 says, Hi Fox, hi Dad, hi all, hi Interzone. Lol, you sound like Griff Rhys Jones. I guess that's when I was doing Sean Pertwee. People are all saying Patrick. Chris says all the spleens. Quano Man says Fox, Fox, Fox. Can you do that Pertwee do when he's busting for a massive wee? What? I don't understand. They've lost me. Massive wee. What about MiG one-shot primer, says Django. That should be in the Amazon US store. I couldn't put UMP primer in there because it don't sell. It's not on Amazon US. But I think in the Amazon US store I added the Badger Standard Res and Ammo one-shot. It's all the same stuff. If you can't get Ammo one-shot primer, just buy Steinar Res instead. It's exactly the same. There's a few more colours in the Badger Steinar Res range as well. But obviously the US store is Badger and then some Ammo. Some of the stuff that's in the US store isn't in the UK store and vice versa. However, my colonial friends, I was able to get Dettol into my Amazon store. I don't know how, it's just there. So, yes. Let's have a look. Oh, it's jumped. Everything's jumped. Oh. We're in 40 minutes and I've done no work. I'm so behind on the chat. What I've been doing for priming this year, says Bassist, is leaving my rattles indoors for a while because the heating will probably be on. Poke my head out, spray and retreat. Yeah, that's it. Literally is. Make sure everything's warm, like as a bowl of warm water, hot water, and just bop out, spray, bop back in again. Because when it's middle of winter, it's not so much that it's cold, because you can rectify that with the hot water. Get the contents of the can warm. That's the same way I've worked in body shop spray booths in the depths of winter when it's like minus 1 billion degrees in the spray booth, and you just put on all the big gas burners and you put your big 5 litre metal thing of 2K whatever it was, coat or clear coat, whatever, in a bowl of absolutely hot water and right in front of the gas burner and heat it up. Totally Scale Model says belly biscuits, bench, crappy old laptop. Yay! Wayne Hayward says sorry I'm late, family meal, belly, Indian food and wheat beer. Yes. David Sanders says about Super Chat, there was, but now it's just a smiley face and a house symbol. I don't know what the house symbol means. Maybe refresh. If you're not, maybe you don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. Django says, Tamiya makes cement for mini four-wheel drive tyres made of rubber. Okay, there you go. Dad says, belly is bacon and egg on toast, bench or red fire engine for E-models. Yes. Eon's car, what have I missed? Nothing yet, says Chris. Welcome, Eon's car. George is in. Hey, George. Welcome, George. Bassist has 5 street waffles left. Who wants one? That's not the way you do it. You eat them with your face. There's no such situation in which you use the word street waffle and who wants one in the same sentence. I don't understand. Right, I've jumped ahead in the chat here, and I'm just going to keep it jumped ahead because I'm so far behind. So I do apologise. If you've asked me a question I haven't even read it out, do type it again in capital letters or do a super chat, just in case. Chris says, shame the chat keeps moving, isn't it? Yes. The Warhammer Painter is in. Welcome, Warhammer Painter. I am at the moment painting all my conquests of space... I'll start that again. I am at the moment painting all of the Conquest Space Marine bikes, and I am hating it. Yes. Warhammer 40k, Space Marine, any kind of Space Marine bike are absolute bish, and I hate them. Oh, we have a thing. Dad says, there is a $sign. See? There you go. Thank you very much, Dad, for your little $1.99 little super chat there. Very kind of you. You've taken a little bit of Kevin's health off as well. That health would have gone down a little tiny bit. But there you go. That's a £, says Chris. Yes. Yes, yeah, I'm not looking forward to... I may actually just leave my Space Marine bikes till the very end when I paint them. Django says, Fox, how do you use the one-shot primer properly if you know? Yes, I can tell you exactly how to use it because it's the same as Badger and it's the same as the UMP stuff. Basically, I'll tell you exactly what you do. You just basically... slap it on. And I actually mean that quite literally. You literally do just... slap it on. Because the way I use it is dead simple. I do a little mist coat first. I just force a habit, but you just do a little mist coat first, very, very light, almost invisible, just to get a bit of sticky paint particles on the plastic, gives it a bit of tack. And then the next coat, what you do is you get your airbrush and you're really good like that. You just do that. You just literally get it everywhere. You don't have to worry about it. As long as you've got that first misty tack coat down, so there's a little bit of extra stickiness for the next coat to bind to, you can just go at it like a bull in a china shop. I mean, don't sit there and literally pour it on so it's spray it on so it's dripping off. But you don't have to worry. One mist coat and then second coat heavier. If you need a third coat, add a heavier coat again. Again, not like massively thick so it's dripping and running. That's crazy, but you can just be a bit careless. It's very, very forgiving stuff. It will self-level really nicely. You have to really work hard to make a mess of it. That's why everyone raves about it. One shot, UMP primer and Badger style arrows. It's all the same stuff. The reason everybody raves about it is because it is kind of idiot proof. You can just get it all over. And the gloss black, I don't know if Badger and Ammo do it, but UMP does it. The gloss black's delightful for metals. The house symbol contains super chat and super sticker. Okay, I don't know. I didn't know that. Is your camera attached to your buttons? It moves when you press them. No, but it's on the buttons are on a desk. And the camera is on a big bendy arm that's attached to the other desk. Not the workbench, so I can do that on the workbench. But on the other desk, it is attached. And for some reason, because I've replaced it recently, it's a lot more sensitive to even slight. If I'm just... That's hardly doing anything, but it's making it... I think it's because I've replaced it with a bigger boom arm, and it's a lot more vibratory now. Django says, for one shot, is it safe enough to work indoors with a respirator? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely fine. It's a polyurethane acrylic type primer. It's absolutely fine. As long as you've got a respirator. I mean, spray everything with a respirator. The only things you don't want to spray indoors are rattle cans, basically, because they're just a hose pipe. Frankie Goes to Hollywood says, in my belly, Lebkuchen. That's gingerbread. There you go. I was going to say, he actually says afterwards it's gingerbread. Lebkuchen. Lovely. On my bench while waiting for parts and paint is drying, I opened another kit, an AMT short hauler Ford truck. Cool. Does it stink though, asked Django about the primer. No, it doesn't really smell that much. And Chris says, compared to Dad, no. No, it's absolutely fine. You'll be fine. It smells... it doesn't really smell any more than Vallejo or Citadel paints or anything else you'll spray. Any other acrylics, it smells just like an acrylic. It's not actually water-based acrylics, but it smells like that, so you'll be fine. But it really is idiot-proof. Athelman Nichols in, welcome Athel. Afternoon, he says, so got all your shopping done, or like me, still waiting for the reindeer to arrive? I did mine at the very last minute. Django says, good, because my biological dad says it'll stink up the house if I use it. Well, that's what you have an extraction booth for. If you've got a spray booth with a fan on the end, that's why you want to get a spray booth. I mean, it's not smelly. Like any paint is going to have some smell to it, but if you do it in a room with the door shut and the window open, and if you've got a spray booth, have the spray booth venting out the window. If you haven't got a spray booth, try and keep the window open so the air can go out, and try to spray it into something that vents out the window if you can. But it's not that bad. Not that bad. I mean, it won't smell like nothing, but it's not the end of the world. Space Hamster, hey all, welcome Space Hamster. Right, do some work. I'm caught up now. Right, so. One other little announcement. I can't remember. No, I'm not. I think my Black Friday code for my merch might be still valid till the 4th of December, but I'm not sure. So if you do want to snag some of my merch dirt cheap, or with 20% off as normal, 20% off normal price, like, you know, hoodies and t-shirts and that, do feel free. It's 20% off. I think the code is holiday20. Holiday, the word holiday 20. I think it's still valid till the 4th, but just test it before you go ahead and spend money. Right. Right, finally some work, says Django. Right, I've lost my headset now. Where's me? There it is. Well, people keep asking me questions, which I'm of course happy to answer. Oh, you're on 52. Yeah, good point. Lewis Williams said, ask my nephew about the name. None of you were too close. He's disappointed apparently he used the name without it being an acronym the last time he was here. Oh, now. Something ATTG. At the, maybe? At the something gaming? I'm going to guess. At the top gaming? I don't know. I'm making it up now. The thing you have to remember about me there is, apologies obviously, but the thing you have to remember about me is I have a rubbish memory for anything. Like, I don't remember the names of people I know in real life. So, if I forget somebody's name in the internet world, yeah, it's just par for the course. If you don't have a spray booth, says Athol, you can build one out of a big cardboard box and a hose from an old washing machine that has enough length to go out your closest window. Yeah, that's cool. You don't, you know, if you're working on a very tight budget, you can't afford to buy a spray booth because they're not super cheap. They're not massively expensive. ATTG says it has no articles, the, at, etc. I can't remember. Nah, it's cool. They were long words, he says. What were we talking about? So I've already forgotten what I was talking about. I was just talking about. Oh yeah, yeah. If you're not, you know, if you're on a tight budget, you can make your own spray booth out of, like he says, a cardboard box, and just some kind of tubing, like a big old washing machine tube. You know, the kind of ones that vent out the wall. They can just go out of a window. If you can put a fan in it, that makes it even better. However, if you're going to make your own spray booth and put a fan in, do not just use a bog standard computer fan. You absolutely must not do that. There's nothing wrong with building a booth out of cardboard and, you know, duct tape and stuff. That's absolutely fine. But if you're going to put a fan in, you absolutely have to make sure it's a completely sealed unit. Not just your average computer fan that's just got exposed internals and stuff. It needs to be a sealed unit because you don't want the risk of particulates, so tiny dried particles of paint, being sucked into where there's any electricals and coming in contact with a spark. Because in the same way that grain silos can explode because of all the static between the dust particles, so you can also potentially, highly unlikely, but potentially induce sparks in aerosolized paint. So am I even doing? Yes, 35. Yes, I'm doing. Make sure I'm doing the right one there. No, it's highly unlikely, but you know, but it's not a risky one, because imagine you're spraying, especially lacquers. Imagine you're spraying lacquers, which is solvents, and you've got particular aerosolized paint everywhere. You've got vapors floating about. You suddenly get spark going on because it's not a sealed fan unit, and all it has to do is ignite one little particle, and the whole lot goes up. And I don't recommend that. So just make sure if you do have a fan, it's just a sealed fan. You can buy sealed units from various hardware and stuff, I would guess, but just not a bog standard PC fan, just because it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk. But like he says, you don't even need a fan. As long as you know, if it's got a big hole at the back and all the paint goes into that tube and the tube sticks out the window, then it's not going to be perfect, but it will vent out most of the paint for you, and you should be okay. It's better than just trying to aim your airbrush out the window, which is nonsense. It's better than nothing. But yes, cardboard, duct tape. It's basically just a box with a hole at the back. You can go cheap on a spray booth. You don't have to spend a fortune. Okay, that's all the bits on there. I can put that over there to throw away later. Yes. What about a small desktop fan? No, same again. You need to make sure it's a proper. I don't really know what you'd be looking for because I've never built one, but I do know you can't just use a small desktop fan. Again, it depends on the electrics inside, how well sealed they are. I think you can actually buy, I mean, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you can buy specifically sealed unit fans. Good thing I got a fume extractor from the chemistry department for the new spray booth, says Mordracker. Cool. My booth cost me £8, says Dad. I spent 56 quid for one of those generic portable booths. Does the job nicely, says Beyond Tape. Yeah, they're not massively expensive. There's the generic Chinese one that everybody has. I've got it as well. There is that one that's like, you see it everywhere. Oops. It's brushless fans you need. There you go. But sealed units are better, said Dave Cardboard. Welcome, Dave Cardboard. Brushless units or sealed. Brushless fans or sealed units. There you go. Just because otherwise you've got exposed electrics inside, exposed wiring, and if there's a spark with any kind of vapours, remember, you know, especially lacquers, because they are highly combustible. So yeah, it's not worth the risk. It's highly unlikely anything will happen, but do you want to take that risk of an explosion? And keep in mind as well, without being too much of a drama queen, it's potentially explosive vapours and combustible vapours in a room where you've also got a compressor with highly pressurised air tank. Yeah, best not to have explosions when you've got something like that. You might want to avoid explosions as much as possible. I like that I liking that greatcoat. I love greatcoats. They are just so I mean, I love greatcoats in real life. My favourite coat in the world is a 1980s French army greatcoat I've got, and it's brilliant. It's just like that. Apart from this has got more skulls on it, obviously. Yeah, I love that. That's great. That is. And if the local housing has turned down your home extension, this is always a good excuse for making your own extension, as the walls will blow out. Yeah. Hello, people, says Paul Di Tommaso. Freezing rain outside here in Hamilton, Ontario, in Canada. Or Hamilton, Ontario, even. Welcome, bro. What am I looking for? I want Sanditoculus, don't I? I want to sand things now. Got any seam line? Yeah, a little tiny seam line. But explosions are fun, says ATTG. Well, this is true. But not when you're in the middle of it. Explosions are fun when you're not anywhere near it. So we're working on the Primaris Chaplain, who has a little tiny seam line here on his big flowy greatcoat. Big flowy greatcoat. We're back to the, remember last week we had the grey plastic, which I suspect was Games Workshop. maybe the production run of the weird third-party plastic ran out and they had to substitute real proper Games Workshop sprues, maybe. This is back to the weird third-party plastic now, which is fine. It's just not Games Workshop. That's the seam line. Only a very subtle seam line, so it's easily removed off little parts here and there. A little bit on there. I'll see if I can just mould line remover the nub mark. Let me know if my head gets in shot, by the way. Django says, I found some cheap Chinese fans that say they are brushless. Should I get them? Yeah, I wouldn't trust it. When you're thinking about your safety, you kind of don't really want to scrimp when it comes to safety. It's not worth the risk. Now, they've got this seam line going between all these buttons. He's got buttons on his greatcoat. I know you can't see them. He's got buttons on his greatcoat. And they're tiny, and between them is a little tiny mould line that you really can't get at. Although I do like the fact that the buttons are actually skulls. I'm quite impressed by that. But this tiny little mould line right down the middle. Yeah, not that impressed. Frankie Goes to Hobbywood says, I posted the bench and belly thing in the boom hut. Yeah, don't forget, there is from now on there is a dedicated thread in the boom hut each Sunday. A new thread each time. But Paul will be posting up a thread at the start of each show, or just before, for your bench and belly pics. And anything else that you're talking about in chat where you need to show a picture, put it in that post in the boom hut. I haven't got it open, unfortunately. Although I could do in a moment. If we take a break in a bit, I'll have a look. Let's see what we've got. Although it's just going to be on my iPad, so it's not going to be fun for you guys to watch. Okay, that's got rid of most of that little seam line, I think. Little one there on that side. Bit on his belt or leather webbing. There we go. And I think that will do for him. We'll give a bit of sand to these nubs, just to try and soften them down a bit. Yeah, I do like nice billowy greatcoats. Are always good fun. I'll get a little brush for the dust. Anybody? No. Dust. Anybody? No. Some of you will get that. Some of you won't. How you doing, Paul? Di Tommaso? How's the Candy Factory today? Is it all in good stead? Good. Bathroom fans, for example. To have Dave Cardboard about fans. Bathroom fan, for example. But for the cost of one of those, you may as well buy a booth. Oops. And there goes all those bits of plastic. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're putting a fan on there, brushless ones can get a little bit pricey. So it's then a rock and a hard place. You can pick up a booth for, if you're an American, $50, $60 maybe. They're not. It's one of the few places where you can go a bit cheap, because they're just plastic boxes with a fan in the back. And it's just kind of like there's two brands. Well, there's two types of spray booth. There's the one that everybody has, which is the same whoever you get it from. Generic white plastic, blue fan, blue filter sponge, grey tube. You'll see it everywhere. That's the one that most people have. And then aside from that, you've got industrial proper professional ones, and they're like 200 or 300 quid. That's why everybody has the cheap Chinese 60, 70 quid one. So yeah, they're fine. I've had mine for years. It works just fine for me. Seam line. This guy's got much smoother armour than a typical Primaris Marine. He's got curvy leg armour. He's got a decent set of gams on him. I don't know why the chaplain gets curvy legs. Look at the muscularity. Do. Lol, daft. Anybody? No. Daft. Anybody? No. It says Wayne Hayward. He doesn't say any of that, but yeah. I was responding to Wayne's comment. What's been going on this week? Let's have a little bit of that. What been doing? Can't think what's been going on. I've been doing lots of behind the scenes stuff. Sorting out the US Amazon store. I have been what I've been doing. You know, when you get to the end of a week and you've actually forgotten everything you've done, it's just gone. Lots of behind the scenes stuff. Lots of real life stuff that's nothing to do with this at all, really. I've not had a massive amount of time this week, sadly, at the bench because of real life stuff. I've got a bit more outlining done on the big Sazabi BB. That's coming along slowly. But I can't show it to you because it's all put away for this. I have to clear the bench off and stick it all back in the boxes. So that's all away at the moment. Well, that's coming on slowly. I did put up for sale I did put up for sale my Imperial Knight Zaku, my 3 mobile suit worker armigers, and my squad of 10 Primaris Marines that are painted up to look like Zaku colours, purely because it's that time of year, everything's dead expensive, I need the money, and I sold them. The first bits that I built for my Xeon army, so they've been sold now. They sold quite quickly, so yeah. Now, whether that means I'll carry on with the Xeon army, I will. I suspect. I will carry on with at least two of the things I was going to do. But whether I carry on as making my army Xeon themed, I don't know. I was kind of getting out of the idea, to be honest. Where's my knife? There it is. So we'll see. But yeah, they sold. They went, so that's a nice little bit of money this month. Bit of income. Should help cover the Christmas expenses and all that nonsense. Oops, is that a seam line? Yes, that's a seam line. So that happened. They went up for sale and sold pretty quickly. Let's have a look. Got to go. Food is on the table, says Jamie. Enjoy your Sunday roast. Did we find out if it was lamb or chicken or beef or what? Did we find out? Ian's car says, got the sisters. I'll start again. Got the Sisters of Battle army box on Friday. Looking forward to building them. Cool. Black Friday cost me an absolute fortune, says Athol. As usual, new cooker, new photo trap, and of course my airbrush compressor, and I am skint. Yeah, welcome to Black Friday. Ooh, de-seaming tool made from a metal nail file honed with a sharpening stone. Cost all of £1, but no, it's one of my favourite things. Yeah, the reason I love this is it's not actually a sharp blade, it's just square. It's got a square profile and it's rigid, it doesn't bend. Osric suggests ATTG is all the terrible goodness, but then Chris says no, there's no articles, no the. Swig of the coffee. Guthorm needs to stop falling over. Stop falling over, Guthorm. There's a big nub on the waist there. What else has been going on this week? Yeah, just a lot of real life stuff, unfortunately. Nothing I can really go on about. Trying to think what else has been happening. The Secret Santa, the Boom Hut Secret Santa. If you haven't yet got round to joining the Boom Hut Secret Santa, well, you're SOL now because it's too late. It's been done. Things have started being sent off to people. Everybody started ordering all their bits and bobs. I need to get those bits out there, actually. People have started sending off their Secret Santas to people. Remember, if you want to... hang on. My rubbish bag is getting in the way. If you want to, we are recommending that people post up in their Boom Hut little pictures of their Secret Santas. Not specifically what it is, obviously, and nothing that gives anything away that you are the Santa. So obviously if somebody sees it and then gets it, they'll know that you've sent it. It's all supposed to be Secret Santa. So just have some fun with it. Post up. We've had lots of pictures of boxes with addresses obscured and things. So feel free. Mine has been ordered. Mine that I'm sending out. I know who I'm sending mine to, so because I'm taking part. So mine has been ordered, and it's nothing massively expensive because I'm a bit skint. But, when I say, well, I was a bit skint at the time. Nothing massively expensive, but it is just something fun and silly. And there's a clue. I won't say who it's going to, but whoever it is, you'll know you get mine because there's a really obvious clue on the box as to who might have sent it. I shall say no more. Django says, may I have a bit of an idea to make a sparkless ventilation thing, heat transfer? You can do. And I see what you're getting at. The warm air going out through the tube because it's cold and moves into... That might work, but you need some good suction power. Because don't forget, it's not just vapours you're trying to suck out, it's particulates as well. It's tiny, tiny particles of dried paint. Because some of the paint leaves the airbrush and is dry. The stuff that doesn't go on the model, by the time it gets to where the fan is, normally on a spray booth, it's potentially dry. It's a particle of paint pigment rather than a drop of liquid. So you do need a bit of hefty suction to really get any of that out. I mean, a low-powered fan would help, wouldn't you? Still help with the vapours, but it's the particulates as well that you want to try and extract, and that's where you need a bit of suction. You know, nice bit of suck. Beyond Hope says, anyone who gets Fox's Secret Santa will know Fox drew a picture of his hero Jar Jar Binks on the package, ? I haven't received it yet. It's ordered. The Secret Santa gift I am sending out has been ordered. It should probably be with me in the next day or two. And then I will whisk it away to its destination. To its intended recipient. It's silly. But I was told that the recipient wanted one of two things. And I interpreted those very... One was very specific and one was very not specific. And I interpreted the not specific one as broadly as possible. Broad, you know, like the Atlantic. So, yeah. I just went for fun rather than anything too serious. So look. My Secret Santa gift was sent out last week, says Paul Di Tommaso. I saw the picture. You're not meant to send widgets through the post. Yeah, and I learned that. That's why I've got the special anti-social order thing going on. That's how I got my ASBO, remember? I know all about that. I'm not making that mistake again. Joke. Anyone done that one? ATTD, do you want a clue? No, don't give clues. I mean, the thing is, there's nothing to say you can't contact the person you're sending your present to and say, hey, I've got you, I'm sending you this. And you can do. It's not like you have to keep it secret, but it's more fun if somebody just gets a package and has got no idea who sent it or what's in it. The thing is, of course, do remember, when you send your Secret Santas off, make sure you put somewhere on the box that it's the Secret Santa present. Because if you don't, they'll just open the box and be like, oh, that was my Secret Santa. Like, they'll just open it like, tomorrow. So make sure you put on the box somewhere that it's your Secret Santa gift so they know not to open before. Do not open before Christmas. Or something like that. It's more fun that way. Because, I get a box, I'm in it within seconds. I sometimes sit there and I'm like, I open the box, I'm like, oh, I was going to film an unboxing, but I got too excited and now it's too late. Never mind. Right, so there's the Chaplain's pointy stick. Oh, got a big seam line right down there. So look. Hello everyone, just got in shopping from the boss, says Stewpot. Welcome Stewpot. Wow, it's busy out there. Yeah. Maybe instead of sucking, I can make a thing that blows the particles out. No, because you want it to suck the particles in and then out through the tube and out the window. You need sucky time. That's what you need. You need something to suck the goodness out of your booth and into the tube and then out of the window. No way around it. Unless you somehow build something with lasers that just vaporizes all the particles, but then you've got the explosion risk again. So, yeah, maybe not. ATTG, Alan at Top Table Gaming, says Beyond Hope. And ATTG says, my name isn't Alan. So Beyond Hope says, so the rest is right. And ATTG says, no. I just put a note inside my package. Yep. The Warhammer Painter says, someone get Fox Space Marine bikes. That would not be a happy... That would not leave me a very happy bunny on Christmas Day. Trust me that. I've got 3 in this set and I'm already cursing them. God, the worst thing ever, Space Marine bikes. The Games Workshop really need to just take those moulds and destroy them. Paul Greer says, hello from Texas. Welcome, Paul Greer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, my friend. Sit down. Take your feet up. Put your feet up. Take the pressure off your feet for a bit. Have a chat. Chill the breeze. I'll just stop talking now. I'm mashing up. Oh, my hands aren't working. I'm mashing up all my... I'm just shutting up. None of the words that I said then came out in any of the right place or any of the right sentences. It all just went wrong. I'm just shutting up now. Right, so I'll get these big boys off here and then trim them back. It is Warhammer themed, says ATTG. Then whoever gets your present shall be very happy. Oops. Beyond Eon's Car and Beyond Hope, talking about Battle Sisters. 9 points per model without war gear. Sisters Repentia, 13 points per model without war gear. And Arco-Flagellants are also 13 points without war gear. Wow, that's a lot of points for a figure. I mean, I know they're like Space Marines, but wow, that's quite a big budget you'll need. Is anyone employed by Games Workshop either on here or in the Boom Hut? Yes. But it's not up to me to say who it is. It's not for me to say who it is. It's for that person to say that's me. But yes, we do have a Boom Hut member who works at Games Workshop. I mean, I don't mean in a store. I mean at GW. In the super secret volcano lair in Nottingham. But it's up to that person. It's not up to me to tell you who it is. Because I don't know if it's meant to be public knowledge or not. Deedle-dee-dee. Deedle-dee-dee. Doodle-doo. Oops. Frames dropping, says Beyond Hope. Let me have a look. No, not showing any. Not showing it at this end, so it could be YouTube. Could be a YouTube issue. Could be... Let's have a look. I've got the wrong glasses on. Excellent connection. Nah, could be you guys. Or it could be YouTube. Most likely it's YouTube having a special moment, I think. Little tiny... I hate these little ribbons and things that you get on these figures. Because when I was doing my Death Guard, one of them snapped off. When I was doing the Death Guard villains, Chaos villains, one of the little sort of... These like bandana things, or the ribbons snapped. But luckily it was Death Guard, so I could just... What I did was, where it snapped, I just basically cut it up a little bit with little zigzags, so it looks like the material's ripped and been torn. And I got away with it. If it was on this guy, it'd be ruined because you've got these lovely danglies with bits on the end. Yeah. Got to be careful with these. You'll know if it's Chris because it'll have one of his mankinis in the box and you shudder. Frankie Goes Hobwood says, I can't be a Secret Santa because I can't do shipping without giving my infos on the parcel. It doesn't really matter if the person knows who it's from. I mean, when I post mine out, it's going into the UK, so it doesn't have to. I'm not really fussed. I'm not going to worry about putting my return address on it because if it goes missing, it goes missing. It's not anything massively expensive, but if I ship internationally, I don't need to give my name and address. When I ship internationally, I just ship through the post office. Just go to the counter and give them a box. So I've never shipped anything big enough to go through Parcel Force, thankfully. So I don't need to give my name and address, but I do normally in case of, return address. But if I wasn't too fussed about it, I wouldn't have to put my name and address on the box anywhere. So yeah, I mean, if you have to put your name and address on it and give away who it's from, it's not the end of the world. Although, ooh, that nearly snapped then. Oh, it's gone white. Look at that. It's stressed. got to be careful now. Don't want to snap this. Yeah, don't forget, you don't actually have to put your... You might be able to put, say, somebody else's name on the package. Or why not, if you have to put a return address, why not put the name and address of a friend or a family member who has a different surname and that you know, because then the person receiving it won't know who that is, but you will. So if I sent one out and I said, you know, it had a return address of Bob Smith and a totally different address, nobody knew who Bob Smith was. Right, Guthorm, you're getting in the way now with your beak and my sanding. Right, I'm getting finicky about this thing now. It keeps catching on the sanding stick. I hate these kind of ribbons and things because they do tend to explode. Most annoying. Let's see if I can get the file on that instead. Chris says, God, you send one person a mankini and you get put on a list. Yes, absolutely. Scale Model Muse, I did my Secret Santa shopping for our local Warhammer shop on Friday. That's going to be one happy nerd doll painter. YouTube had a moment. Reload the page. Yes. Yeah, nothing at this end. No problems here. No stream issues at my end. Paul Gray says, today is build Age of Sigmar build day for me. Work on the new Boneheads. I got 6 of the Feast of Bones. Cool. I do love the fact that, although this is my Warhammer Sunday stream, I know that not everybody in the chat actually, or even watching, even makes Warhammer. I know a lot of you don't even like Warhammer, but I do appreciate the fact that you still come and hang out. It doesn't really matter. It's just me doing stuff. Hanging out with you guys. Right, those ribbons are really vexing me now because that one's got a little stress mark on it where it's bent a bit. I do not want to snap it. So I'm very reluctant to do any more cleanup, and I don't think I need to do any more cleanup. I don't think. Oh, I think that's everything. Yeah. Oh no, it's not a seam line. That's cool. Yeah. Right, that can go there. Oh, getting clues. Okay. Oh, okay. Clue to ATTG's name. He says first clue. Oh, I don't know what the first clue was, but he says second clue. First word is ah. Ah. What was the first clue? Do we have a first clue? I've forgotten already. Oh, first clue was it was Warhammer. Doodle-doo. Paul Tomas says, I didn't put a return address on mine. Hopefully there's no problem with my package getting to its destination. No, it'll be fine. Just means if they can't deliver it, it won't have anywhere to go. Like I say, if you were sending something like massively expensive, you'd always put a return address. Like if somebody bought a model of mine, when I send out the Imperial Knights and Armigers and Dudes to the person that bought them on Monday, because I forgot. I went to the post office on Saturday to post those Knights out. And I got there and it's like, yeah, it's closed now. I'm like, oh, I forgot that we're in the UK, post offices still think it's 1978. So they all close at lunchtime on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, for Pete's sake. So I've got to send it out on Monday now. It's like, the one day of the week that 95% of the population are free and not at work, and post offices close half day. It's like, what? 21st century. Are we guessing ATTG's name? Says Dave Cobb. Yes, the clues are, he when he first came into the chat ages ago, when he first started joining the chat, he had his full name, but he dropped it down to ATTG because it's easier to remember. But now none of us can remember what it was. And the only clues are, it's Warhammer, and the first word is ah, and there's no particulars. So there's no like the, of, anything like that. Particles. Particles? No, not particle. Articles. He used proper grammar terms, so he's clearly smart because he knows more. He knows all the grammar stuff that even I don't know. But I'm an idiot, so I don't know a lot of things. Oh, we've got a barrel to drill out. Yes. Candygram says, I've known Paul Greer since the 1980s. Wait, what? Oh yeah, and Paul says he's been connecting since the 1980s. He's got 2 mates in the chat. Cool, I like that. Athol says, not a problem as such. The camera is out. Is the camera out of focus? Whose camera is out of focus? Is my camera out of focus? What have I missed? I've missed something here. Rolux Illusion. Welcome. I didn't spot your comment there. Welcome, dude. Or dudette. I know not which. Age of Sigmar, says Paul. Blues Clues says Totally Scale Model. A tabletop gamer. Paul Di Tomaso is going for a great big wee. Great big wee. No, I am a tabletop gamer, but it's to do with Warhammer. I think now. Is it to do with Warhammer 40k or Warhammer Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Fantasy? There's a question. Which Warhammer? ATTG. ATTG. Basis says, I remember when I had to go to the post office to send out a load of my old band's Kickstarter rewards we did. I thought the staff were going to kill us. Yeah. I always seem to go into mine. What I tend to do is, unless it's stuff I've just sold, I tend to combine picking up Mama Fox's pension with, posting stuff out. So I'm walking them like, shipping and clipping today. There you go. I'm shipping stuff out and clipping my things in to get the money in. There you go. Got a dangly bit on his gun that's going to snap off. Guaranteed. Rolux Solution says, it is I, Print Guru. I had to change my name recently. Aha, welcome. Welcome back, Print Guru. I wonder where you've been. Paul Greer says, lol, someone knows me. And yeah, Candygram says he's known you since the 1980s. Wait, do we? I don't know. I'm confused now. Do you not know each other? Lies, all lies. Print Guru, Bench and Belly. Anybody else who wasn't here when Dad asked the question, Bench and Belly, what are you working on? What's in your belly or what are you having for your dinner tonight? What is the plan? I have to say last week. Last week. Last week. Not this Wednesday gone, but the Wednesday before. My friend Martin came round. My friend Martin, we don't see each other very often, but he just pop round every now and then, once a month maybe a bit more. And we do noodles. He comes round for noodles. We basically just hang out and we get like Chinese food, especially udon noodles. So we just I'll be sat there one day and I'll get a text be like, bing, noodles. I'll be like, bing. I'll send one back saying, yep, Wednesday. How about Wednesday? Yep, done. Noodles. That's it. That's our entire planning process. So we came around last Wednesday for noodles. Not last Wednesday. Wednesday before the one that's just gone. Came around for noodles and we did noodles. Noodles were good. But then, for some reason, I don't know why, but we just got on a Chinese takeout kick. So, from Wednesday before last, we had noodles on the Wednesday from our favourite Chinese takeaway. And then on Thursday, we had Chinese from a different takeaway that's round the corner that I could just walk round to. And then the day after that, I think we had more Chinese because again. And then the day after that, we had from the first takeaway that did the noodles because I don't know how it happened. But just me and Mama Fox were like, you know what, let's just have Chinese for the next 5 days. Yeah, I was a bit weighty by the end of the week. It was good fun though. There's a downside to eating Chinese takeout every night for 5 nights for a week, but there's also a hell of a lot of good sides. The downsides are outweighed by the fact you're having Chinese 5 times a week. Yeah, I don't know why we did. We just did. It was one of them things. Raging Bassist says, all-terrain Tango Gunthorpe. And ATTG says no. I feel like telling you, but that would ruin the game, says ATTG. Yes. So did we confirm if it was 40k or Fantasy or Sigmar? Did you specify which one it was, or is it just Warhammer? Are we not getting more specific? Is Fox Circle admitting that he's still attacking those Korean killer noodles, but not on camera, so there's no evidence of tears, says Beyond Hope? Oh God, no. I'll eat them happily on camera till the cows come home. Those Korean death noodles, right? Even the one with the 2 times and the exploding chicken Kim Jong-un on the front. They're not that bad. They're not that bad at all. They're enjoyable. I can quite happily eat them. I can wolf a couple of those down with no tears at all. Not even breaking out into a sweat. The reason they're Korean death noodles is not because they'll kill you on the way in. I'll just leave that one hanging there. You can figure out the rest of that. It's not the damage they do on the way in. Yeah. Right, so that's that sanded down and de-lined. I need to drill out the barrel. It's barrel drilling time. I'll zoom in a bit. I'll try and zoom in a bit. Hang on. There we go. These bone reapers are a pain to build. It's 40k, says ATTG. There we go. ATTG. I can't think. I'm not massively on the lore though, so it needs someone who's really into 40k lore, I think, to get that, I think. Frankie goes onward, says, for shipping internationally, you have to give a phone number for the person you're shipping to in Germany. That's weird, isn't it? Are you shipping through DPD? They're German, I think, aren't they? Yeah, if you're doing it through a courier, in the UK here, if you ship through a courier like DPD, which is Deutsche Post, so yeah, then yes, you have to give like contact details for the person at the other end that you're shipping to, and that's purely because if they get to the front door and there's no answer, they then ring the number and say, hey, we've got a parcel for you, where are you? And also they can send text messages saying we're going to deliver it today and stuff like that. So if you're using a proper courier, then yes, you have to give the person's details. If you're just using, like, say, in this country, if you use the post office, they don't care. They'll just slap the bits on and they'll just send the postage off. They'll just be like, you need to give me some money? Yes, brilliant, there you go, thank you, bye. They don't care. This might not be quite centered. I may have bished this a bit, but let's find out. Gonna risk it for a biscuit. No guts. Ooh, no glory. Now this little side hole might be just the right size. Ooh, let's get it in. Yes, yes, yes. I can feel it come. Oh, there we go. Yes. Yes, perfect. I do appreciate the fact that they've made the Citadel drilly thing. The smallest drill bit is exactly the right size for the side vents on barrels. I mean, obviously it is. That's why they've made it that way, but... A totally terrific gene stealer. What's up? Says ATTG. Wait, hang on. Is that ATTG? Or no, that's not. Yeah, is it a totally terrific gene stealer? What's that? Is that it? A totally terrific gene stealer. You know what? That's easier to say than ATTG. Because I can just say gene stealer. Or totally terrific gene stealer says. I like that more, actually. Oh, yes. There you go. So it's a totally terrific gene stealer. Cool. Yeah, that's easier to say because I can just say gene stealer then. Right, handy tip if you're drilling out a barrel. Just remember that when you've done it, you might have some scribbliness at the end. Now, first thing I want to do, and Dad's shouting at me because I've taken the glue out of the Dad device. I know. The first thing you can do, if it's not quite centered, it's not the end of the world. Take your blade and just very gently widen it without stabbing yourself. Widen it so it's more centered. So, for example, this is a bit lower than it needs to be. It's a bit down from the top, so I'm just shaving very gently a tiny amount from the top, just so it looks a bit more centered. You're really just widening it out. Now, it doesn't really matter if your blade goes all the way in or it looks a bit rough. That's fine because that's where your glue comes in. Because what I'm going to do now is take a little bit of extra thin, get most of the glue off. Most of the glue off, so it's just damp. And you can run it around the edge of the barrel, run it into the barrel, and run it through the vents on the muzzle. And what that does is, again, you want almost no glue on there at all. You're not applying glue to glue things. Using the moist glue that's on the brush to melt the plastic and smooth it down. Remember, Tamiya Extra Thin is it melts the plastic. So if you've got a microscopic amount on the brush, it's just damp. It's just going to go on the surface, melt the plastic a tiny bit, and any little rough areas where you've carved it with the knife will just smooth off. And that's how you get a nice smooth drill barrel that now looks like it was drilled perfectly the first time, even though it totally wasn't. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little glue to this little bit here, because I know this bit's going to break. It's already looking stressed. And I must admit, the one thing I hate about Warhammer stuff is when you get little dangly chains and stuff like that, because they never last, they never survive, they end up breaking off. Yes, you were. That's why I told my uncle people were pretty close. You got the adjectives, it's just a really hard to guess name. It's a good name. A totally terrific gene stealer. Does that mean you've got 4 arms? 4 handles with 4 arms. Nom 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 nom. Team Inept says, handy tip for drilling barrels, use a Dremel like Gross Models. Yeah, Chris at Gross Models, knocking the camera, sorry. Chris at Gross Models drilled out a barrel on a bolter with an entire Dremel. I'll stay zoomed in a bit for you. It's not going to be the best quality if I stay zoomed in, but it looks alright. It's a bit fuzzy because it's a digital camera, isn't it? So, yeah. Right, I'm going to take a quick break to have a look at the chat and just take this off my head for a minute. This thing is a great magnifying tool, but it does give me headaches if I wear it for too long. Right, it's almost noshing time again, says Athol McNichol. Tonight, let's see Cornish pasty and chips. Sounds about right. That sounds good to me, fella. Enjoy your Cornish pasty and chips. Whoa, yes. Or use a CNC machine, says Django, about drilling out the barrel. Django says, also, Dad may need 2 dad devices, one for Tamiya glue and one for Citadel paint pots. Yeah, and Dad's put his email address in there. Doodaloo-doo-doo. Django, if you can let Dad know when you've got his email address written down so he can delete that from the chat, because he doesn't want that. You don't want that in perpetuity on the chat. Let's have a look. Beyond Hope says, I need prayers or a wallet protector. I have to attend a Warhammer store tomorrow to pick up some kits ordered. Someone needs to stop me picking up more. Yeah, that's never going to happen. That's just impossible. You're screwed. Let's just be honest. I'd rather be honest with you. Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah, screwed. George says, Beyond Hope, get 6 more kits. Yeah. Space Hamster is painting the Forge Rule Vermin Lord, and not only does it have a massive ball sack, apparently, there appears to be a tumour on it. Thoughts? I don't know if I have any kind of response to that at all. Interesting that they actually have that, because normally they cover all that stuff up. There you go. I have no thoughts about that matter whatsoever. I was painting in the kitchen and missed the name, says John Kenwood. I've forgotten it already. A totally terrific gene stealer. There you go. The Warhammer Paint says, in Conquest you also have an attack bike. Yes, I know. I hate any Space Marine bike. They're awful. They're horrible. I'm sure they were fine in the day, but by modern standards, they're awful. They are truly awful. They're horrible. They've got the worst mould lines. They've got the worst seams. They're not fun to paint because all the details are soft. Oh, they need to just update that. Especially when you've got things like you've got the Atalan Jackals now. I can't say Atalan, I have to say Atalan because it's like Matalan. You've got the Atalan Jackals on their little off-road dirt bikes. And those are fantastic little kits. Those little dudes on the dirt bikes, they look brilliant. They look absolutely brilliant. And it's like, and then you look at the Space Marine attack bike, which is just absolute garbage. Oh, yeah. ATTG says, the first Warhammer game I got into was Dawn of War, then Total War Warhammer. I've not played any of the video games. I could play the original Space Marines game, the first person one or third person one. That's a real sort of shootery type one. But I don't think it was 360. I haven't got a 360 anymore. ATTG walks out of a Warhammer store too empty-handedly, too easily. I go home with no cash, I walk out with no cash. I'll say that again. He walks out of a Warhammer shop easily, empty-handed. Walks out of a Warhammer shop empty-handed easily. Goes in with no cash, comes out with no cash. Yes. Warhammer says, I hate building the land speeders. I don't mind the land speeders. The land speeders are kind of cool and fun. Is there a Warhammer 40k game? Start again. Is there a Warhammer 40k game with Death Guard as playable faction? I don't know anything about the games. I think, from my knowledge, most of the games are actually like RTS type games. There's one, I think, FPS third-person shooter, FPS or TPS third-person shooter type thing, but that's about it. I think a lot of them are just, a lot of them are Age of Sigmar, and a lot of them are RTS types. Right, let's crack on. Break over. I don't think I'll get more than one figure done today. I'm having too much fun just talking. And Edward Leonard says, My Space Marine Attack Bike Bill Part 5, like and subscribe. Yes. I had a problem building the land speed. I kept messing up, says Eon's car. They're fairly straightforward. They're not too bad. You have to just remember to sub-assembly it. So you need to make sure you've got full access to the interior to paint it before you glue everything together. I did have, when I did mine, the only real thing I couldn't figure out was how to get the dudes in. I painted the interior and then installed the dudes. But I'm like, well, I don't want to start slapping glue around because I'm just going to ruin the paint finish. It's going to go everywhere and be... I can't really get in enough. I got the one with the 6 dudes hanging out. And I couldn't really get inside it once I'd assembled it to glue them in easily. So it wasn't like I could go in, scrape a bit of paint off, and just put the feet in and get the glue there, because it was too risk of a mess. So in the end, what I did was I actually PVA'd them in. I used PVA glue, but I could, where the feet were attached to the floor, luckily it was all kind of hidden anyway, so I could get quite handy with PVA and have no real consequences. But the beauty of it was that, of course, it wasn't going to affect my paint job in any way or shape. I didn't have to clean off paint off a surface, so I didn't have to worry about that. And it didn't go foggy or cloudy and knacker the paint up, so I could just go willy-nilly, dump a load of PVA in there. And in the future, if the PVA starts to degrade or yellow and go funky, dead easy, I'll just pull them all out again and I can redo it. That's the beauty of PVA, see, it leaves no trace. Leave no witnesses, leave no trace. Because that's the thing you've got to consider with figures. If you're gluing something in place and everything's already painted, you've got to be really careful. Because your polystyrene cements will eat the paint alive, so you've got to clean. You have to. The difficulty is that if you want to glue two things together, and most of you probably know this, but if you want to glue two things together, you really do not want to glue them together with paint on them, because the glue is, most polystyrene cements work by melting the plastic. If you just put glue on two painted things and put them together, you're just gluing one coat of paint to another coat of paint. You're not gluing the plastic to the plastic. It's not welding the plastic together. And that's why if you do that, they'll just fall apart. And also it will mess up the paint job because it will dissolve the paint. So you need to be scraping the paint away from the two parts that are going to glue together, from the two contact points. Scrape the paint off, bit of polystyrene cement, splunge, there you go, done. If you're using Tamiya extra thin, if you've got, let's say you've got two plastic things you want to glue together like that. If these were painted, you'd have to scrape paint off there and scrape paint off, let's say there were pegs holding this in place, it had a fixed place, scrape paint off that bit and off there where it was going to meet and glue it together. And if you use Tamiya extra thin, of course, you can get it down and very gently run a tiny amount into the gap. It will suck in and weld the plastic together. And if you're lucky, it won't make too much of a mess with the paint around the edge. If you use extra thin, because that will suck into the gap, it won't make a mess. If you use proper thick cement, like the Revell Contactor glue or the Games Workshop stuff, you're going to have blobs of glue. It's going to ruin everything. So you can get away with it a bit on gluing things together when they're painted, but you still have to clear the paint off the contact areas so the glue can do its thing. But the other problem is if you use, say, super glue, apart from the fact that's messy anyway, if you use super glue as it cures gives off vapours, and they can affect your paint finish. They can make the paint go all cloudy and frosty. So again, it's not the best option. So it's always worth thinking about how you're going to do things, how you're going to build things. You know, if I glue all these bits together now, can I get in there to paint them? And that's the one challenging bit about the land speeder with 6 dudes in it, is what's the build order for getting the dudes in there, but also being able to paint inside, because I can't glue it all together now, because I won't be able to get my brush inside to do any of the painting. So it's quite a challenge. Like I say, I PVA'd mine in. PVA is a great glue because you can just put it everywhere. And it's completely harmless to the paint. Worst comes to worst, eventually you can just peel it off again. I mean, it may bring the paint back up with you, but at that point, if all your figures are falling out, you may as well do a repaint anyway. But PVA is used quite a lot. In the US, for our colonial cousins, it's also known as Elmer's glue, is PVA. And I actually went into my local Hobbycraft the other day to buy a box. And lo and behold, on the shelf, they had a shelf of Elmer's glue. I'm like, cool, we get it in the UK now. Awesome. Speedy Curators in. What excitements have I missed so far? I've cleaned up them bits. That's all I've done so far. Nothing has happened. Let's have a look. Dawn of War has Chaos in it and probably has Death Guard as a unit. I wouldn't know. I've played all the factions but Demons and Chaos. Let's have a look. Oh, I have the Space Marines are not glued in the land speed. I just need to repair the doors on the side. Okay. I need to green stuff it. Oh, right. Or you could... I didn't know it's any... Oh, you're talking about the doors. Because the one I did, it didn't have any doors on the side, so I don't know. Is it just because there's a big panel gap around the door? Is that why you need to green stuff it? I mean, it is an old kit, so I wouldn't be surprised if it had some slight fit issues. The Drukhari, I'll get the words out. The Drukhari Venom is a more fun version of the SM Landspeeder. The one pilot is stalled and 3 female characters hanging crazily off the top of the vehicle. Yes. I was sent by my very good friends at Goblin Gaming. Let me go and get it for you. Hang on, I'll show you. One sec. Ooh. Hang on. Coming back now. My very good friends at Goblin sent me that. The Harlequin Starweaver. Which I'm going to have fun painting that. I don't know why they sent it to me. It says replacement. I think this was just in their stock. They sometimes, the guys they look after as affiliates, they sometimes send us stuff. So I'll film this for them anyway. But yeah, they sent me that. I've never painted the Harlequins. I've kind of got an idea how I'd paint this kind of diamond style colour scheme. I kind of know how I'd paint it, I think. It would be airbrushed, obviously. You could do it brush painting, but I think I'll probably do airbrushing on that. But yeah, it looks like good fun. I don't know when I'll get around to doing it. I will at some point get time to do all these. So yeah, I've been set that. So I need to do this as a filmed build for the chaps at Goblin. So thank you to this was ages ago they sent this. A big massive thank you to the guys at Goblin Gaming. Yeah, but I look forward to doing that. Don't forget, of course, talking to Goblin, my 2 corporate sponsors or corporate supporters. Don't forget, of course, emodels.co.uk. Link in the description below this video. One-stop shop for all your model making needs, traditional model making stuff, tools, kits, books, guides, paints. All the stuff you need for proper model making. And of course, as you've just seen, my very, very good friends at Goblin Gaming. The link is in the description below the video. Make sure you use that link that's in the description, not just goblingaming.co.uk. If you use my affiliate link that's in the description below, that will tell them that you've come from me, that I've sent you, and I will earn a small bit of income off everything you order. It doesn't cost you anything, you're not paying for it, but I get a little bit of commission. So make sure to use my affiliate link that's in the description below, and that way they know you've come from me. If you just use the goblingaming.co.uk, I get nothing. And it's a nice way it's a good way for you to make lots of savings, but also help me out on this channel. Because you're not paying a penny, but you're indirectly supporting me by helping me earn a little tiny bit of money, which is brilliant. Because I do this for my living, don't forget. This is what I do for a job. This channel. and my boom hut and my videos and stuff. This is how I make my living, what there is. So all support is acknowledged. If you'd like to support the channel directly, of course, you can. Goblin Gaming, the link, by the way, is... I forgot to put these links in chat when I was talking. Hello. That's the one for Goblin. And, of course, for e-models is that one. I hope my buttons are working. Are my buttons working? Yes, there we go. But yes, don't forget, of course, there is also... you can support me. If you want to support me directly, you can do on Patreon. Patreon.com/modelmakingguru. You can support me each month. A little as much as you like. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to. It's not obligatory at all. It's purely just a way for you to share the love you have for the stuff I do. If you like my work, if you appreciate what I do, and you'd like to make sure I can keep doing it, do feel free to go and see if you can help out on Patreon. And like I say, you don't have to. It's not obligatory. And I've got a load of people that just do me $1 a month, and that's brilliant. Whether it's $1 or $5 or $10 or more, I'm happy for any support you can give. So patreon.com/modelmakingguru. But again, it's optional. You don't have to. Yes, I'll get around to building that Star Weaver at some point. And I'll do it for the guys at Goblin as a video for them. They took me on as a affiliate ages ago, and I haven't even done any content for them yet. I just haven't had a chance. I've been so tied up with real life stuff and doing the Cesabe, and then after that I've got the Falcon to do. I might see if I can squeeze that in before I start the Falcon, after I finish George's Cesabe baby. Cesabe baby. Beyond Hope says, genuine question, apart from the Citadel technical paints, what do you use to base your Warhammering dudes? Because I'm lazy, because I am the biggest, laziest person in the world, I tend to just use, you know, the Citadel stuff. A Grellan Badlands or Stirling Mud or whatever it's called. If I'm just doing a figure base. But I'll also go into the garden and get little bits of rock and stuff. And I use the... I've got a load of the little GW tufts. And some ammo by MIG tufts. So they're just in my stash. I'm working through them. So at the moment, I actually just stick to the GW stuff because I'm totally lazy. And when I finish the model, the thing you have to remember about me, and I've said this before, is I am, apart from the fact I'm very lazy, which is why my channel is all often a lot of, here's how to do something that looks really, really awesome, but is not a lot of hassle to do. Don't know where I'm going with that. By the time I also have a really short attention span, as in, I get bored very easily. And more often than not, by the time I've got the model built and I've got to the point of doing the base, I'm bored. Not bored of the model, but I've no interest in doing the base. I just want to move on to the next build. It doesn't take long before I've finished with the build. Because when I finish a build, two things happen. One of two things will happen when I finish a build. It will either go into my display cabinet and never get looked at ever again and be forgotten, because I'll have moved on to the next big thing and then I'll have forgotten all about it. Or I'll just sell it. So, and that's the reality of doing this for a hobby. You can't get too, if you're trying to do it for a living, for example, if you're doing it just for fun and hobby, then, you know, you won't do this. But if you're doing it for a living, because my idea is that I'll try and sell a lot of stuff I build that I don't want for myself. There is some stuff that I want to keep myself, but a lot of it is just I'm doing it to sell it. I can't get too prissy about my builds. If I need to sell it, I need to sell it. So it needs to get done, go in the cabinet, and then go up for sale and go. It's not like I'm selling my children. So I don't get that attached to them anyway. But in a lot of builds, even the even the builds that I've really, really enjoyed, by the time I've got to the end of it, I'm bored and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. So it just goes in the cabinet. But if there's a base to do as well, yeah, I'm already at the point where I just want to move on to the next model. Because I've done everything I can on the actual... When I've done everything I can on a model, I'm happy with it. I don't want to carry on with it. I'm like, right, what's next? So the base is all often done like an afterthought. So if that just means a bit of a Grellan Badland, or, you know, whatever, maybe a stone and a tuft, then I'm fine with that. That's fine. I mean, there will be times if it's an expensive model like an Imperial Knight, you know, I might go to a bit more effort if I'm looking to sell it. You know, if it was something big and tremendous, then okay, yeah, I might make more effort, especially if I'm looking to sell it. But if it's just going to go in my cabinet, I don't care about the base. If it's going on the tabletop, again, there's no point getting too prissy for me. If it's something I'm going to play in a game, because it's just going to get destroyed. So there's no point spending 100 hours making a beautiful diorama for your miniature, only to put it in a transport box, get to the game and find it's all fallen off. Nah, so I can't be bothered with that. So yeah, I'm just lazy. But if it was like something special, like a big Imperial Knight or something, then I might be, and I was looking to sell it, then yes, I might put a bit more effort into it. Dave Cobble says PVA equals wood glue, aka school glue, but there's PVA and PVA. Yeah, there's two. If you go to like Hobbycraft and you get like different types of PVA glue. Warhammer Paint says, do you hate building Games Workshop tanks? No, I haven't made many so far in the painting queue, as in they're built and primed but need to be painted. I have a Lehman Russ, which I can't remember what weapon I put on it, but I think I've magnetised it, or my plan was to magnetise it so I can change the weapons, but I've not got around to doing that yet. So it's mostly built, not primed. Lehman Russ. I've got a Wyvern that I've built and primed but not painted yet. I have a, I'll show you. I have obviously my Death Guard Rhino. I have this beautiful little thing, which now I have to apologise. I think it was Steve that gave this to me. If it wasn't you, Steve, I do apologise, because I'm crap at remembering who gave me what. Met up with me at the my local Warhammer store and gave me this. It was something he built when he was, I got something in my mouth. Something he built when he was much, much younger, and it's a really old Rhino kit. You can tell by just the tracks and stuff. It's an old vintage kit. He kind of kit bashed. And he said, you can have that as a gift. There you go. It's a gift for you. And apparently this is off some G.I. Joe vehicle. This is brilliant, this missile launcher. So yeah, my plan here is just to get this stripped back, or just reprime it. We'll get it stripped back, see if any clean-up work needs to be done. There's like some seam lines there I might clean up, and then give that a proper paint job. I think it was Steve that sent that to me. I think. I have to apologise. I really am crap. I usually write on things who sent me what, but I honestly can't remember. Mordraka's off. Well, I can't stay awake any longer. I'll catch you all next week. Thanks for popping in, Mordraka. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you can tell it's all kit bash because there's a stretcher there. There's like a 1/35th, maybe 1/72nd scale stretcher, and a ladder off something. But yeah, it's there's a barrel there, half a fuel barrel from something. Dad says, yeah, I think it was Steve Mundy. Yeah, I think it was Steve Mundy because we met up briefly in my local store. It was really nice to see him. Yeah, so anyway, he sent me that, gave me that, and it's like, that needs a proper paint job at some point. So that will get a proper paint job. A few of you are saying, yes, it was Steve Mundy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. But yes, that is an old-ass Rhino, that is. So I've got that to paint. I've also got my Bane Blade, of course, which I really cannot wait to do. Oops, put that back in there. I cannot wait to paint my Bane Blade. I like painting vehicles. I like painting vehicles because it's not necessarily easy, but it's not hard. Because you can kind of build the whole thing, give or take a few bits and bobs, and just paint it. It's not like you've got sub-assemblies and bits. And like painting tanks, it's just mostly the same colour, so you can go in and have fun with it. And I like doing that. And going forward, look, I have some plans for next year. Like I said earlier on, I do this as my business. This is how I earn my income. Now, this year has been a bit tough for me because I've not had much chance to make anything that I can sell this year, which is why I sold those Imperial Knights and stuff the other day, because I have struggled a lot this year because I've had nothing to sell. I've been working on either commission builds or, e-models builds or Patreon reward builds, stuff like that, where it's not something I can sell at the end of it. So I have had a bit of a struggle this year. But next year I have some things in plan. one is, well, I'm going to reveal all of them. I do have some plans, but one might see me doing a few more Warhammer vehicles like Lehman Russes and stuff. But I'm thinking now that in terms of building stuff to sell, things like Lehman Russes and some of the armoured vehicles, rhinos and stuff, they are kind of easy to paint and quick to turn around. So it may be that next year I go through a lot of painting Lehman Russes and stuff like that and selling them as little battalions. So I might paint like 5 Lehman Russ tanks and sell them as a single batch. There's not going to be a lot of money in it, but I need to start monetizing what I'm doing, as in making stuff and selling it. And making stuff quickly. Now, if I'm doing like a Valkyrie, yeah, it's going to look fantastic, but it's going to be a pig to build and a pig to paint and a pig to ship, because you've got to have sub-assemblies, you've got the interior and everything else. If I build 5 Lehman Russ, I've only got to paint 5 dudes in the turret, which would take me, a day. And the tanks themselves, I can just paint them all dead quickly. I'm not rushing, but I mean, I've not got 18 different things on sticks. It's just, there's the tank, paint it, done. So I'm thinking next year's might be a fair bit of armor like Lehman Russ. I might go through a few Bane Blades. Bane Blades are difficult because I can probably sell them for a decent price, but they're not cheap to buy. And sadly, not quite at the point where with Warhammer stuff you can't quite sell it at a realistic price. So for example, theoretically, if I put 100 hours into something, and then if I make a model, paint it, and I've put 100 hours into it, I should be selling that for at least 800 quid. Because if you think about it, I've put 100 hours into the build. If I charge it £800, that means I've earned minimum wage. So if I make a model of something and I charge £800 for that model, I've earned about the same as somebody working at McDonald's. So you see now why that kind of thing isn't cheap. However, the problem with Warhammer is that there's an endless supply of numpties going on eBay and selling stuff at stupid prices. Right, I've been on that. I've seen fully painted Bane Blades. And I mean well painted. I've seen well painted Bane Blades for 125 quid. And it's like, the kit costs 90 quid. So you're charging £35 for 20 or 30 of hours work. Or even more, 40 hours work. That's not even 1975 minimum wage. But the problem then is that sets up the benchmark. So if I go on and say, I've spent 50 hours painting this Bane Blade and making it, and I'm going to charge you £450 because that's at least minimum wage. And everybody goes, yeah, no. Because why would I buy yours when I can buy this one for 125 quid? And it doesn't annoy me quite a lot. It's very frustrating for people like me who are trying to do this as a living, because it hobbles anybody trying to actually charge a fair price. What can you do? What can you do? Sell them privately, I suppose, is the only option, which I do as well, but hey. So it's very frustrating in a way. So it's quite limited as to what kind of money you can make. If you're looking at this kind of thing, there are a lot of limitations. So a Bane Blade, yeah, I could do a Bane Blade and sell it for, but how much am I going to make after I spent 90 quid buying the kit? But if I do 2 of them and sell them as a unit, like 2 Bane Blades, then you can kind of boost the value of them a bit because it's perceived value. So it might be that I spend some time next year painting a shed load of Bane Blades and a whole mess of Lehman Russ and some rhinos and stuff. Who knows? And also one thing I really want to get around to building is I do have my Macarius Vanquisher tank, my Forge World Deathcore tank, which I haven't even assembled yet. And I really can't wait to get around to having a go at that and see what it's like. So look, Bane Blade, says Dad. Yes. Sing the Beyblade song, but switch it for Bane Blade. Jamie Bowen says, hi everyone, what have I missed? Not much, buddy. How was your Sunday roast? We still don't know if it was lamb or chicken or beef yet. You need to clarify. We need closure on your dinner saga. Not much ramblings and finally doing the Chaplain. Yes. Hey, if I do 1 mini in a day in an episode, that's pretty good for me. Chris at Gross Model says, you'd be shocked how few people actually want an orange digital camo Baneblade. Yeah, there is that. To be honest with this pricing stuff, says Django, I think I'd have a system calculating roughly how much resources I spent on the kit plus time spent doing everything. That's absolutely how you do it. Unfortunately, because you then go on eBay and people are selling 50 hours work for the price of 5 hours work, you're screwed. A lot of times. You just have to hope there's somebody there that understands why you're charging 450 quid for something that somebody else is charging 120 quid for. That's the problem. That is a real problem. Like I said, if I was to charge when I used to do commissions, for example, last time I did a Millennium Falcon, I did the 5 mods Millennium Falcon, I charged 750 quid for that. That's less than minimum wage. It works out as less than minimum wage. So all that work I put into it, I would have earned more if I'd just gone and worked at McDonald's for a couple of weeks. Doing hamburgers, flipping burgers for 2 weeks. So there's a huge difference between what you think your work is worth and practically per hour charge. If a lot of times, if you go in with a minimum wage times number of hours, you won't sell. Because what you think is a fair price, you have to remember, people don't want to pay for stuff. They want stuff for free. If they have to pay a bit of money, they get a bit grumpy about it. There's always people that will appreciate, the cost of something. But unless you're a world-renowned artist, like, for example, let's say Mick Jimenez paints a tank and sells it for $5,500. Somebody's going to buy it because it's Mick Jimenez. I do a tank and sell it for $5,500. I still have a tank in my cabinet and it never sells because nobody's going to pay me $5,500 for a model, are they? There's a certain cachet on the builder. At a certain point at which you're famous enough or well-known enough that you can then command whatever price you want. I'm not at that point, and I don't know if I ever would be. I doubt I ever would be. So I have to think practically. So sometimes it's just a case of suck it up, I can't get what I want for it, but I need to sell it. One day maybe, who knows. But like all art, you only get the good prices when you're dead. But then you're dead, so you don't get the good prices. Do. Which is why I absolutely treasure and, to be honest, depend on my patrons so much. Because without them, I really would be screwed. If I sell stuff, I might not be getting what it's actually worth back for it, but with Patreon as well, at least it's an income then. If I was just building stuff and selling it, I just don't have a chance. When you finish the Perfect Grey Zaki, what would you have to change for minimum wage? Charge for minimum wage? I don't know if I'll ever finish that, to be honest. That's long faded, that one. I don't know. I don't even know how many hours I put into it, to be honest. I wasn't really paying that much attention because it wasn't technically going to be sold at the end. I don't know. Again, it just depends on number of hours. It's impossible to say. There's too many intangibles. Not just having an hourly rate. Really, sometimes. And like I say, any kind of art, it depends on the reputation of the artist. So, yeah, what can you do? Right, swig of coffee. Phenomenal. Gross Model says, yes, but if you worked at McDonald's, you'd be much fatter. No, because if I worked at McDonald's, I'd never want to eat McDonald's ever again. There will be an upside. George Gabriel says, I wish I had a Baneblade someday. Yeah. It was chicken, says Jamie. Yeah, the roast chicken did a good effort. If I had to sell my Warhammer stuff, not likely. It will be a lot, says Eon's car. Oops. Close to 500 quid, maybe. Cool. Because the thing you have to think about Warhammer is, let's say you've got a kit. There is a kit. And let's say this kit costs £35. Let's say it's a Lehman Russ. Lehman Russ. 35 quid. So you go to Games Workshop, you buy that kit for £35. And I put, let's say, 20 hours into it. 20 hours of build and paint. That's a minimum wage. That'll be 160 quid. So 160 quid. Take out 35 quid for the kit. So it's 125 quid. Depending on where it's going in the world, you might spend 10, 15 or even 20 quid shipping it. So you might come out with 100 quid. For a Lehman Russ, and you think 100 quid, that's not bad. Then you've got tax, so that takes 20% out. So you might come out with 75 quid from selling a Lehman Russ. Which is fine. It's, you know, it's a nice chunk of money that you didn't have before. But for a week's work, if I sold 4 of those, if I did 4 of those in a month, 75 quid times 4, you see what I mean? It's not massive income. If it was just that on its own, if I was just depending on selling stuff I've made, right now, it'd be a problem. But I do have the support of my patrons, and they are my absolute lifeline. So we get coffee. That's why I absolutely treasure and adore my patrons. Because that's how they make this possible. If I was just depending on building things and selling them, I'd have to go and get a job. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this. Because I've done this when I had a full-time job and it was a living hell. Trying to do this and a full-time job just didn't work. It was only when I walked away from that job and I had this option to do this full-time that I was able to then say, let's make a go of it. Let's do more video content. Let's do this as the thing. So it's thanks to my patrons that I have the freedom to do that. And that's why absolutely vital. They're absolutely vital to my existence. Let's have a look. Only one of them I know is actually making a living from it as an airbrush artist, but that took him 2 years of building a reputation and name in the right circles. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you get a job doing this for somebody else, like you work for a company that does, like, you know, companies like Blue Table and stuff that do, like, pay us loads of money and we'll paint an army for you, that kind of commission stuff, then you're paid a wage for doing the job, and that's fine. But then, that's just a job. If you want to do it on your own, you are the artist, then that's a lot more challenging. Right, let's get this sucker built. Oh, I've got a real itchy nose as well, so I apologise. Oh, tickle your nose. I thought this was supposed to be a Warhammer Conquest stream. All I've heard about is Lehman Russ tanks. I'm building Warhammer Conquest, but I'm talking about anything else. Right, so that needs to go on there, like there. So see, let's get the dad device ready. I'll zoom out a little bit now so you can see, because you'll just see lots of gluing, and that's not really what you need a big close-up angle for. Just general model talk, Jamie. Yeah, I mean, everything I've said doesn't have to necessarily be about Warhammer. It relates to any kind of model making. So I do get quite frustrated when I forgot to turn notifications off. Let me just turn notifications off. Hang on. Let me do that, because you don't need to see people's email addresses on screen. What was that? Oh, Adam, thank you very, very much. He's a new patron, Adam Wakeling. Thank you very, very much, buddy. I really, really appreciate that. I love you completely. You're my best man. I always said you're a good lad. You will get access to the Patreon Discord, which is dead as a dodo. Not what goes on there, but it's there. I'll sort you out later with that. I need to turn off notifications on that. And also notifications off on the other thing. So I'm just turning my notifications off so it doesn't make loads of noises. Yes, Adam, thank you very much. That's really, really kind of you. I really appreciate it. Love you lots. Thank you very much, dude. No problem, dude. Happy to help, he says. Bless you, my child. Bless you, my child. Yeah, so, yes. So what was I talking about? No idea. Yeah, so I do get quite frustrated. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what we're going to have on this, though. This guy with the big flowy greatcoat, we are going to have a filling scenario. We're going to need to fill this. He's got a big seam line right down the middle of his coat. Now, it depends. It's potentially possible on this coat. I'll zoom in again for you. It's potentially possible that I may not have to do any seam filling because it may well be there's a seam right there where the two pieces join together. However, it kind of coincides with the gap there between the two bits of the coat. So it is not impossible that I might be able to get away with calling that an actual seam on the coat, not just a seam on the model. But I don't know. If I need to, I can fill that in with some sprue glue, but the difficulty is sanding that without damaging this little dangly bit here. So I shall take that under advisement. It might be that I leave that and just excuse it as a seam on the coat, an actual coat seam, because it does tally with that gap there. So I might get away with that. Right, so we'll get some glue going on there. Bit extra thin. I will zoom out again in a minute, don't worry. Glue. Where did that join there? Glue there. And we'll do some at the top. So if I get that there, if I run a little bit of glue down that little gap, just a tiny amount, it'll soften the edges. I can squish it a little bit to get some glue, but I might get away with describing that as an actual coat seam. There is a little bit of a seam that does continue on the belt there, but I might just fill that in, or I can possibly sand that out. I've squeezed it so some glue's come out. I might be able to sand that bit away. So I can point to it for you. So there's a little bit on the belt there which I can possibly sand away. This, I think I might get away with describing it as a seam on the jacket. If I want to get really funky with it, what I could do is even install a little piece of plastic card across there, because what I might do is, if you look on the back of coats, sometimes they have a little piece of like little bit of material across the back of, on a greatcoat, the vent at the back, there's often a piece like that. It's like square shaped. You might have a button there and a button there, and it's just to hold two parts together. So what I could do, if I wanted to get clever, was install one of those on here, on the back, piece of plastic card and two little circles to make it look like buttons, and I could theoretically put one here somewhere just to boost up the idea that it's meant to be a seam line. I mean, I would normally just fill it in with sprue glue. It's not a problem. I did it on all my Skitari, no problem at all. I did it on the cloaks of my Space Marine snipers that I did at one point. It takes 5 minutes to sand and it looks brilliant. But it's just purely for the risk of snapping these danglies. I don't want to snap me danglies. Snapping that dangly, I know that would happen, and I don't want to do that. Now, the other question I have, of course, is, do I want to glue all this together? We shall find out. Let's have a look. Raging Bassist says, after Christmas, I'm hoping I may be able to get to a higher tier, says Bassist. Dude, any support is wonderful. Don't bother me if you're $1, $5 or $10. Anything you can do to help is fantastic. You do what you can afford. It's not obligatory. Most important question is, who was the fat kid this week, says David Butch, that model. I'm not doing stickers for a while. I've got a massive backlog of stickers to send out that I do need to do at some point. But it's to the point where I'll probably be spending about 70 or 80 quid just sending out the stickers. So I've just put them on hold for a bit until I can clear the backlog. I've got a billion emails of stickers to send out. But if you want to be the fat kid, Dave, you'll always be the fat kid to me. Do you feel more fluffy yet, the bassist, says Chris to Andy. I still don't know what Raging Bassist's favourite musical instrument is. Paul says flute. Beyond Hope says French horn. David Butch, that model, says banjo. Carolina Roberto's in. Hi Carolina. Chris says bagpipes. Just Django says theremin. I always wanted a theremin. I had synthesizers, but I never had a theremin. I always wanted a theremin. I think I would have been good at the theremin. I think I would have kicked ass. I would have been so good at theremin, I would have been made an honorary Russian. Accordion, says Dave Cardboard. Interesting fact, random fact of the day, which is going to go off on a tangent. I know, I always do. Random fact of the day. Many, many years ago, a friend of mine was thinking of emigrating to New Zealand. This is about 15, 20 years ago. And she asked me to look up the entry requirements, because I had the internet at the time and she didn't. And I looked it up, and this is going back to like the mid-90s, I think. And believe it or not, at the time... okay, I can see looking at this, just to go back again. This is going to have challenges painting. If he's mounted on the base, it's going to be a nightmare to get the brush in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to glue those two bits together. I can glue this to the base, and like I did, this is what I did with the Skitari. Glue that to the base, keep that separate. Yeah, I can store him like that, but when I come to paint him, I can do all that and then glue him together later. So yeah, she asked me to look up the entry because she was looking at thinking of moving to New Zealand. So I looked it up, and there was like a list of jobs. Here's like the top 10 jobs from number 10. You will probably let you in if you want to become a citizen and emigrate to New Zealand. And number 1 was you're an instant Kiwi, you're an instant citizen. As far as we're concerned, you may as well be living here all your life. You're instantly accepted. Anything you want, you get, and you get to marry the Prime Minister's daughter and everything. Just come in, we love you instantly. So number 1 was like 10 out of 10 points. It was a points base. It's like number 1, you get like 20 points or something. So if you had the number 1 listed job, you were guaranteed citizenship with no questions. If you had the number 10 job, yeah, you might be all right. Then see if you can guess what the number 1 in the mid-90s, what the number 1 instant citizenship job was. I'll give you a few minutes, but if anybody doesn't get it right, I will send them a sticker, and I'm adding to my sticker list. If you even guess what the number 1 instant citizenship job was, you won't get it. Let's have a look. That thing that Rolf Harris used to play. No, not that, says Grace Models. Kazoo, didgeridoo, comb and paper. Hello, text messages. Zoomed in, mate. Yes, I'm still zoomed in. I'll zoom out again though. Thanks, Dad. Who was it? Dad that sent me that? Oh yeah, thanks, Dad. Didgeridoo, didgeridoo, cowbell, spoons, sack butt. I assure you this is a real musical instrument. I know what a sack butt is. Spoons, butt sack. Spoons need to be metal for musical purposes. It's like a butt crack Chris, only wider. I'm a fat kid, says bassist. Oh, my message got deleted. What? I didn't do it. Sack butt is an old trombone style instrument. Triangle, it is the truth. I went to the message limit. There's a limit, yeah. Oh yes, it's 200 characters. You can't go more than 200 characters. Spid says, going with cowbell, always need more cowbell. Remember, we're talking about this is what instrument Raging Bassist plays, because nobody knows. It's a bit like Matty's Metal Detector in North Wales. We don't know what his name is, what he does for a living, or where he comes from. We'll never find out, because he never says Matty's Metal Detector in North Wales. We have no idea about any of that. And with Raging Bassist, we've got no way to know if he plays an instrument, even if he likes an instrument. Who can? We've got no idea. People are now saying what the number 1 instant citizen job is. Sheep farmer, hooker, sheep herder, Kiwi caretaker, plumber, triangle teacher. Triangle sees this as correct. Witch painter, cat wrangler, deck builder. Works with a New Zealand accent. Oh, no. Can I build you a deck, bro? I'm going to put some nice planks down for you here. Nice and flat. That sounds more like Rocco than I know. Fluffer, Sarge, Sega Mater's bottom knocker. Django says, I have an idea about Raging Bass's favourite instrument. It is a 12-string guitar. Bagpipe player. Yes. I should give it another minute or so, but nobody's going to get it. But there really was, and I am being absolutely honest, this is officially what the New Zealand Immigration Department said was their number 1 instant citizenship job. And I'm guessing it's about mid-1990s. Goldfish swimming teacher, says John Kenwood. Let's glue some stuff to some other stuff. Right, we've got arms. Oh, it's all fairly straightforward. Arms, legs, bumps a daisy. Let's get the backpack on first. I'm going to use some Tamiya thick glue for this. Raging Bassist says, I am pretty angry at times, but mildly miffed and irritated bassist doesn't have the same ring to it. Yeah, it's too many words. Hello, I am slightly nonplussed, but otherwise rather personable bassist. Yeah, it's not got the same ring, has it? Doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Yes, I've used the extra thick glue there, or the regular Tamiya cement, which is the white label stuff. Just because, like I've explained a number of times before, with the extra thin, it does weld the plastic together, but it's not got a lot of stick to it for the first few seconds. So until the plastic melts, if you've got bits that have to carry any weight, they'll probably just fall apart. So what I often do with things like backpacks and arms is I go in with the regular thick Tamiya cement first, just because it's not more weldy, it's less powerful than the extra thin in terms of weld, but it's got some stick to it because it's thicky and gloopy. So it does hold things in place a bit better just for a few seconds before I put the extra thin on. And then I lavish some extra thin on it just to smooth it all down. Okay. Let's have a look. Chiropodists. Mime. Probe molder. Sex toy tester. Mankini tester. I was packing my bag ready to apply, Dad, says Dave. What's that model? Eric says Mankini tester, and Django says that's Fox's job. Ew! I'm not, no, it's not ever going to happen, ever. Do. Oh, brilliant, just knock the backpack off. You spoon, why don't you? Didn't quite have enough extra thin on there. More glue. There we go. You will stay there, I put you. Immigration officer. No, not. Shall I tell? I'll put you out your misery. This is going back to about 2005-ish. The number one instant citizenship guaranteed job in New Zealand in around the mid-2000s, when I looked, was accordion repairman. And I'm looking at this list, I'm like, because it was like, you know, it was like pharmaceutical engineer, architect, civil engineer, all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, various electronic type jobs. There were brain surgeon was on the list, and that was at number 3 or 4. Brain surgeon was like the third most important job they could think of. There were, you know, all kinds of like properly important jobs. And pilot was up there and stuff. But then number 1, instant citizenship. Accordion repairman. Bam! Out of the blue. No explanation at all. It's like, wow, there must be like some kind of a major national New Zealand accordion crisis or something. That they really need accordion repairmen or women so badly that they are happy to just make you an instant citizenship just for being that. And I was like, damn, I wish I'd gone to university and studied accordion repair. That would have been fantastic. Now you can see here, I've got a bit of a lucky break because when these arms go on, although they're not covering up the little... Remember I said there was a seam line on the belt? Although they're not actually covering them up, they do make them harder to see. So to be perfectly frank, once that belt is painted anyway... Because once I glue this arm on, I'm not going to be able to get in there to sand it. At all. So I think for that arm at least, I think it's going to be fine. I will do Patreon for $1 a month for a year if you run down the street with the Mankini with Mama Fox filming it. Do you want to pay me £12? Sorry, let's round it down from American dollars. You want to pay me about £8? I'm not that cheap, Dave. £8 to run down the street naked. No, no. I'm cheap, but I'm not that cheap. Right. I am going to sand this belt. I've got my little round file. Now, I know it's only been glued for a little while, but it's probably squishy enough now that I can just very gently, because I'm only doing the belt, remember, I can run the file over the belt and just smooth it down a little bit. So if you are filling gaps with cement, I'll zoom in again for you, hang on. If you've got a gap in a model, my advice to you is, I'll just put my dog tags in, that's why you can hear jangling around. Before you start thinking about, oh, well, I've got to get the filler out and everything else, and I've got to get my milli put going and stuff, before you start thinking about that, especially on minis, if you've got a gap and you know you're going to have to fill it, go through the options first. For example, first thing to do is when you're assembling it and gluing it together, see if you can squidge the cement, the glue you've used, out of the gap, and then when it's dried a little bit, you can sand it down. If it's a really, really tiny gap, you might not have to worry about using fillers. That's usually often a good way. Second way to think about it, again, if it's only a tiny gap, think about, rather than using your filler, which involves faffing about, think about maybe just doing some sprue glue, which is just extra thin glue with polystyrene dissolved in it. Again, you're filling it with polystyrene, so you're filling plastic with plastic rather than filler. It's much more sculptable if you need to, and it's easier to deal with. You just go blah blah blah, filled, sand it back. I only use fillers as an absolute last resort if I have to, because again, I'm lazy. Right, so I've got rid of the seam on the belt, just by that little tiny bit of sanding there, because I squished the two halves together. The little tiny amount of glue bubbled out because it melts the plastic, and the melted plastic squidged out, made a little bead of melted plastic across the gap. You've just seen me do it now, literally 5 seconds of work, done. A little bit of sand. Once it's primed and painted, you'll never notice it was there. But because the belt now has no seam line, the seam line that goes down here that isn't filled is more convincing as just a seam line in the jacket, which also tallies with the seam line that there actually isn't one there, but it tallies with the seam line in the jacket here. You've got one that goes down the jacket in this gap here, so you could say that is a seam in the jacket because there's one on the other side. There you go. That's how you get away with it. So you don't always need to fill things in. And GW are quite good sometimes about disguising mould lines as seams, clothing seams. So you don't necessarily have to fill every seam line in. Sometimes you can just get away with it. And sometimes you can do very minimal work and it will all come out smelling of roses. So you can see I'm doing a little bit of sanding on that belt, same as the other one. Just a little bit of sanding on the belt, just to, while I've got the chance here, before I glue the arm on, just to kind of soften that a little bit. And the beauty of using the cement method, like I did here, is if it's a tiny, tiny area, you don't actually have to wait 24 hours for it to all dry and everything like that. I mean, if you use sprue glue, you have to wait 24 hours. Little things like that where I've pushed two things together and see if the stuff bubbles out. Give it about 10 or 15, even 20 minutes. You might be able to get, if it's small enough, you can get away with sanding it very gently. And it fills itself, it fills its own gap, and you're sweet. So there you go, that's gone now. So we've got the seam down the jacket there, I can say is part of the jacket. And it's backed up by the fact there's that gap there on that side and the seam under the armpit. Cool, done. Let's crack on and get the arms glued on then. I'll have a look at the chat in a second. So yeah, before you start committing to fillers and things like that, don't panic too much. There may be other ways to fill gaps, if you even need to fill gaps, that are much less hassle. Because I hate using fillers, not because it's hard. It's not easy. But not because it's hard, it's because I'm lazy. And if there must always be, as far as I'm concerned, an easier way to do things. Always got to be a way to do things easier. Just sometimes a case of hunting that down and finding out what it is. Because a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people who would be put off by certain and this is what I was saying earlier on. My whole point of my channel is to show you how to do things. Not necessarily for beginners. You know, I'm not aiming my stuff at absolute. I mean, it is kind of aimed at absolute beginners, but it's also aimed at people who maybe look at something that looks really complicated and are put off by the fact it looks really complicated, but it might not necessarily have to be. I don't know how this arm attaches now. How does this arm go on? There you go, that's how it goes on. So I like to show you that sometimes there are easier ways to do things that look just as good. I spent many years working on my weaseling, when I used to work in an office, various offices over many years, I had chance to perfect, because I used to work in a series of jobs that were awful jobs and I hated everything about them. I hated the job, I hated the people there, you know, the managers and stuff, and I just didn't want to be there. I didn't like the job or what I had to do. So I taught myself, I learned and developed my weasel skills, defined as the skills of getting out of just about anything without actually making it looking bad. Racklin says, I chat with you from Hospital Fox. I know, you said that earlier on at the start, dude. I hope you're nothing too major. I hope you're okay. I hope you're just in there for checkups and stuff. But take care, buddy. I know you don't particularly want to say in public maybe what's going on, but whatever it is, dude, I hope it gets sorted out for you. There's a hair on my finger and it won't go away. There we go. Go away. Oh. Yeah, I hope you're just in there for routine stuff, my friend. Nothing major. Right, I shall give him a... Which way do I want him to look? I'll have him looking straight on, why not? Yeah, so, big hugs, dude. Don't want you to be ill. Met Ray at Telford. Really briefly. But it was nice. It was nice to meet him. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'll give 99 cents for 1 month, says Eric Graham. This is about running down the road with a mankini on. How about 9 quid and a fudge? No. I bid one. You're all bidding now on how much to pay me. I've started a bidding war. 8 million quid, says Django. I'll do it, but no mankini would fit me, says John Kenwood. Come on, the bid's $1. Who's going to be beat it? 1 jar of mayo, 9 quid and a fudge, 99 cents. Come on, Paul, you know the bid's good. If the bid goes high enough, you know we'll do it, says Butcher. I'll do anything for money. He just needs to be a good amount of money. I already pay him, he doesn't buy what I tell him to, says Paul at Team Inept. Yeah. A Twix and a pack of street waffles. Yeah. Yeah, I hope you're okay, Ray. I hope there's nothing too serious. I'm worried now. That's come out of the blue. I hope you're being looked after by all the lovely nurses. I hope they're being lovely and looking after you and like giving you treats and stuff. I don't want to have to come over there and shout at nurses for being grumpy. Ooh, can I get this pauldron on now? Here's a question. It's the old, can you get the pauldron on after you've glued the arm in? Yes, there we go. That's actually quite a tight friction fit, so what I can do is spong it on there. And then get some glue going. Because it ain't going nowhere, that. Yeah, it's not looking after you, dude. Is there anything we can do? Send me a message on Facebook. Anything we can do to help you out, do let us know. Because I'm sure the Boom Hut will do everything they can to look after you and keep you happy and distracted. Finally back and laundry is done, says Skill Model Muse. I've got to do my washing, actually, my laundry when I finish this stream. I've got loads of things I need to put my washing on. Big bowl of mac and cheese, yum, says Skill Model Muse. Ooh, that sounds delish. I need mac and cheese now. And I'm not even American. Oh, I don't have to worry about that seam, it's covered up by that book. Cool. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. I got a chest infection. Yeah, there are some lovely nurses here. Oh, well, I hope you get better soon, dude. If it's a chest infection, luckily, hopefully that just means they'll give you some big fat antibiotics. Maybe put you in space, on some space pills. You'll be a bit spaced out for a few days. Give you some antibiotics, antivirals. And they'll see you right. So take care, buddy. Take the excuse to get your feet up and do nothing. Whee! You know why you got a chest infection? You probably got it from, like, grim Telford. You probably picked up some nasty virus nonsense in Telford because it's a grim and cold place compared to Malta. If I lived in Malta and I took a few days to come to Telford, I'd probably come down with horrible diseases. Okay, so that's the book glued on. That's going to be fun to paint, that book. Doodle-doodle-doo-doo. Bit of a funky fit. Not quite. There it is better. Wasn't quite on properly. So I'll just clean up this bit of plastic here because I've got a splodge of glue that mangled the plastic a little bit. Handy tip, another handy tip for you if you're ever gluing stuff with Tamiya Extra Thin, or if you have Tamiya Extra Thin in your arsenal and you're working on a model and you accidentally do that thing that we've all done, which is where you get a big fat thumbprint on a piece of plastic because you're squishing something and you get some glue. Thumbprint. If you ever do that, don't panic. There's two things you can do. If it's fresh, if the plastic is still squishy, you can get some Extra Thin and just smooth it down. It'll melt the plastic and smooth it all down for you. Or if it's a bit older, or you notice like the next day, don't panic. You can just sand it. Sand it away. It'll be absolutely fine. Right, so that's there. We have, what else have we got? We've got a little dangly thing that goes on the front here. Ooh, a dangly thing, dangly thing, dangly thing. Dangly thing. Oh, Speed says, oh dude, you're infected by England, it's bad for your health, get well soon, Ray. Yeah, you probably picked up some nastiness coming to grumpy England. Because put it this way, here's the thing about England, right? This is universal. Everybody gets, on a Sunday, everybody gets back to school blues. All over the world. Because on a Sunday, when I was a kid, first of all, Sunday was bath night, when I was a little kid. Sunday was always bath night. You're like, bath. You know, all you want to do when you're a kid is fall out of trees and run around in dirt. You don't want to have a bath. So, yeah, Sunday night was always bath night, and it was back to school on the Monday. So you'd come out of school on the Friday. Yeah, you got the whole weekend. You'd lark about all day Saturday and have fun times with your mates. And on Sunday, you'd wake up and just get hit with the back to school blues straight away because you knew that in 24 hours, you'd be sat back in the classroom again. Oh, hate it. So the whole day would be ruined because you couldn't get out your head the idea that you're going to be stuck back at school again. And I'd just be grumpy all Sunday. It'd be a depressing day. And in the winter, when you wake up and it's dark, you're a teenager and you wake up at like midday and it's dark. And you're like, oh. So Sunday was always a depressing, boring day for me. So it was always back to school blues on a Sunday. So yes. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, yes, back to school blues. So what was my point? I've got no idea. I've forgotten already. Oh yeah, so not only... Because back to school blues is a universal constant. Everybody in every country where they're at least off on a Sunday, gets back to school blues. It's universal. But in Britain, it's twice as bad because quite often you're combining back to school Sunday blues with miserable British Sunday weather. Yeah, it doesn't help. It's a bit of a funky fit. That's not a very good fit. It's a very loose fit, that. It's not brilliant. It's not brilliant, but it'll work. Let's have a look. Just curious, but will there be a dedicated Death Guard painting tutorial, Fox? Says Django. Yes, what the plan is... originally I was going to be, as you all know, for this Warhammer Conquest, it was like I'd get each magazine and I'd film either building the model or I would at very least film painting the model as the magazine says. So following the magazine and showing you how to paint it like the magazine says. And then for some of the characters, I would then break them out and do a proper full paint job on them and do special episodes. However, that's out the window because this is why we're doing this now. We're just building these to get them all done so that next year sometime I can just start to paint everything. Everything will get a proper paint job. I'll zoom out a bit. Everything will get a proper paint job, so a proper full-on paint job. And they'll all be filmed and videoed properly to show you how I do it. Now, I'm not going to film like episode 32, painting a Space Marine. Episode 33, painting another Space Marine. Episode 34, painting this Space Marine. No, I'm not going to do that, but I'll do things like, let's paint a Space Marine. He's now painted. Let's paint a Death Guard Plague Marine, he's now painted, but I'll paint all the others as well. Then we'll paint like the special characters, paint this guy, they'll break out. Or like Poxwalkers, we'll paint one Poxwalker, but I'll paint the lot, I'll batch paint them. You know, the Death Guard, the Chaos Cultists, I'll paint one of them on camera, but we'll do all of them. I'll paint all of them. So I'm not going to paint every single figure and show it, but yes, I will break them down. So everything will get a proper full-on video. Because I suddenly realised there is absolutely no point whatsoever in me showing you how to do exactly what it tells you to do in the magazine. There really was no point. It was absolutely pointless. Because I suddenly realised, you know what, you're all capable of reading the magazine, and the paint job in the magazine wasn't that great. And to add to that anyway, it was more a question of time. I just simply didn't have the time to, whilst doing everything else I'm doing, I didn't have the kind of time I would need to film all of that each month and special episodes when needed. It was just not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen at all. So at least this way then, the plan is get all these dudes built, everything built up and ready as the issues come in. So Sundays now is always going to be Warhammer Conquest till we've built everything. And then once everything's built, as soon as I can, obviously it depends on what else is going on at the time, but as soon as I can, then we'll just start the painting. I'll start painting everything and filming it. And like I said, this is going, half of this is going to George because he's sort of funded a big chunk of it. So he's going to get the Space Marines and I'm going to get the Death Guard. Woohoo! So that's that done. What I need to do now is, I can guarantee when he's put into, I can guarantee you, George, when he gets put into a skirmish box to ship to you, that's going to snap off. And that head will snap off, and these will snap off. I guarantee it. So please don't be offended if when you get this, half the bits have fallen off. For the feet, I can just glue these straight onto the base because that's fine. I don't need to worry about these too much. Again, for the feet, I always use the regular Tamiya cement first, in generous proportions. I spawned him on there where I want him to go. Kaplunk. There's no scenery with this guy. It's just a dude. I wiggle him about a little bit just to let the glue scrunch under the feet. It's always good to wiggle him a little bit, just get some glue into the recesses. Then I can go in with the extra thin. Get that around the feet. Yes, imagine Back to School blues combined with grim British autumn Sunday weather. Yeah, so that's what you've got, Ray. You've caught a dose of England. You've caught a touch of the English. Yeah, grim. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to glue these together. Like I say, that's how he's going to look at the end. That's going to how he's look when he's finished. But I need to be able to paint underneath that coat, the interior of that. So what I'm going to do is just leave them like this. When he's finished, what I'll actually do is I will mount him on a stick. There isn't really anywhere I can... Normally what I would do, that would be solid, and I'd just drill a hole in there and mount a little cocktail stick in there. But I'll mount him on something, even just like a chunk of blue tack or something, it doesn't really matter. I'll get a stick in there so he can be mounted on a stick. And then I'll paint all that. And the bit that's in the middle, the bit where there's the actual hole, where the two pieces come together, and if you can see in there, that will remain unpainted. This bit here, I can get him stood up, this bit here will remain unpainted on the top. And then all I'll do is when he's all painted up and done, everything's been painted, everything's been completed, that bit's coming off already. There we go. Everything's built, everything's painted, apart from those two contact surfaces, splonned, bit of glue, bit of fat glue, spawned, done. And that way I can paint inside his greatcoat and paint the tops of those legs. Because you imagine trying to paint inside, I mean, what you could do is you could glue it all together and not mount him on the base, mount him on a stick and have him on a cork or something. But it's just as easy to do it that way. So there you go, that's him built. Now I've got one, so I've got one dude done. There you go. Right, let's have a look at chat. We're nearly done today anyway. So yes, there will be lots of painting tutorials. It's going to be next year now because we've still got 5 months of this to go yet. Butch that model says, trust me, on this, the very last thing you want to see is Chris in a mankini. Don't ask him how he knows. But he says, true, but I'm convinced somebody gave Chris the Mankini and he offloaded it sharpish to Fox. I just haven't found someone to offload it to yet. Back to work blues hit me about 2 p.m, says bassist. Yeah, once you become an adult, you still get back to school blues. It's just transposed from back to school blues to back to work blues, but I still call them back to work blues. I don't get them anymore, obviously, because it's my job, but yeah. Beyond Hope says, we get the return to work blues now. Finish Friday at 5 p.m. You have 56 hours to enjoy. Nope, you have 3 sleeps, 8 hours each, and 24 hours. That's off that 56. Then chores, 11 hours. You have 22 hours over a weekend to enjoy. Yeah, you start thinking like that and you just realise, oh. And then if you have to, I used to get really jealous because I'd be like, I've only got Saturday when I don't feel stressed that I've got to go back to work. And if anybody else wanted to get involved, hey, do you want to come to the pub? I'd be like, no, it's my time, not your time. No, ooh. And I'd get quite a bit, I'd be all like precious and possessive of my like one day off. Because I wouldn't work on a Sunday, but I'd just be in a blue funk the whole Sunday because I know I'd have to go back to school or work. Yeah. Scale Model Muse says, I work as much on so-called days off than I do at work. Yeah. Django says, okay, I'm getting my dudes for Christmas, so by the time you get to it, I'd know how to, lol. I'll look on other channels for it then. Depending on how complicated you want to get, if you're looking at just a regular paint job, there is Death Guard stuff on YouTube, on Warhammer TV. It's a good starting point, if nothing else. Don't like the paint scheme and the issues, would learn from you, says Eon's Car. Yeah, and the thing is, I might not necessarily paint my Death Guard guys green. Yeah, you see, because there are some other colours. I might paint a different Vectorum. I don't know yet. I've got to, once I've got everything built, because what I'll do is I'll get everything built, I'll paint George's stuff first, so all the Space Marines, I'll paint all his stuff first. Get that done so I can get all the minis to him. It does mean that he gets the floating tank thing. God, I feel robbed on that one. I don't really, I'm only joking. But yeah, he gets the floating Space Marine tank. Oh, damn it. Yeah, so I'll do all the Space Marine stuff first, get them all painted and send them off to him. And they're not going to be Ultramarines. Yes, they're going to be something else altogether awesome. And then I'll do my Death Guard, but I'm going to spend time going through all the lore and looking, because obviously we'll have all the magazines, and they do show some other Vectorums for the Death Guard. So I will have a look and see. I like the ones where they've got that kind of greeny off-white colour. I quite like that kind of like old... Ooh, Skullfish. Cold Soup Cat, says Skullfish. Thank you very much. I wonder where that was. Bit late there. Thank you very much. Lovely. Thank you. Massive appreciation. You've taken a little bit. So you guys are only seeing this now. There. I know. I've already talked about it, but I see it before you guys. Yeah, thank you very much for that, dude. A little bit of Simon's health has come off, see? Slowly getting there. I've got paint on my finger. Slowly getting there slowly. What was I going to say? When Andy became a patron, by the way, that also took a little bit of Simon's health off as well. So there you go. So you're still helping. What was I talking about? No idea. Oh yes, then I'll paint mine, and I quite like that look. It's like white, but then with a green, very sort of yellowy green glaze over the top, just to give it that kind of putrid look. I quite like that, but there are other Vectorums as well, so I'll have a look and see what I might paint them as. David Butch, that model says, you've got the joy of painting 40 Poxwalkers to look forward to. Yeah, but the thing is, because the Poxwalkers are going to be mine, because if I was going to, because when we were deciding who's having what, if George was going to have the Death Guard, I would have painted them all massively carefully. I would have been like, spend 6 weeks doing, but you know what, if it's my army, those Poxwalkers, they're getting contrast paints. They're getting contrast, because don't forget, when they launched the contrast paints, I did a quick play of. I've shown this before, but I'll show you again. I had a quick play in the shop without knowing what to do with them, and I painted that guy in about 5 minutes. And for the flesh, not for the trousers and stuff, I'd paint the clothing and stuff properly, and the horns, I'd paint them properly. But just for the flesh, that's actually pretty cool, and I could probably get away with that for my dudes, as at least the very base colours, to be followed up with other like highlights and stuff. But that's just literally 5 minutes work. And if I was to carefully paint the trousers properly and the horns properly and the eyes, and maybe do some highlighting here and there, you could probably quite get away with that. What was that now? Whoa, dude, Dude, you got a gold box. Dude, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget, of course, that's all going into the kitty. How much is... Wow, Simon's down to 66,445. That's all going into the kitty, the jar, to be combined with the Brains Gone tip jar. Yeah, the tips and the super chats. That's all going into the jar, and it's all accruing. So remember, whoever gets Simon to 0 on the health up there, that's your money. That's your money going into the jar. So keep your eyes peeled. I reckon we're £332 off a winner, says Beyond Hope to George. Yeah, so that's what I'm probably going to look for when I do my Poxwalkers, something like that. Something like that. Quano Man does say thanks for being you. Oh, thanks, dude. Really cool. Let's have a look. Stewpot says, hey Fox, thought of you today while shopping. I saw some beard baubles. They would be nice for Christmas. I don't think my beard's quite long enough, but yeah, they would be awesome, wouldn't they? Booyah, broadside from Quano, says Skullfish. Skullfish. Yeah, a nice big chunk of Simon's health been taken out there. Don't think Si's watching today. So yeah, so when I do mine, they'll be getting a bit of that. Because just for the flesh, because it looks fantastic. It looks, and I remember rightly, it was Gulliman flesh as a wash, and while it was still wet, I went over one of the green, I don't know what the names are, one of the green colours, and then while that was all still wet, literally, I went over one of the purple colours over some of the pustules. And that just gave it that nice diseased flesh look. Now, I still have to work on it. I'd have to go in and work on all the little, little blips and pustules and zits and stuff. I'd still give it some depth, and horns, but that'd be fine. So that's what I'll do. So I'm not worried about painting all them Poxwalkers. Also, I'll paint the pants the right colour rather than blue. Time for a butty to row in a bit, says Dave Cardboard. Cool, thanks for coming in, buddy. I'll probably be gone by the time you come back. What else we missed in chat? Do Death Guard go with Deathcore of Krieg? They'd be handy cannon fogger for the bloated guys. Death Guard are Chaos and Deathcore of Kriegs are Imperium. They're opposing factions. I would say bad guys and good guys, but in 40k, there's no such thing as the good guys. Because, like, Chaos, they're the bad guys. The Imperium of Man, they're also the bad guys. Everybody's a bad guy. The only ones that are kind of good guys are the Orcs, because they're not evil, that's what they are. They're just there. They're designed to fight. So they're like football hooligans, but that's their entire culture. So they're not doing it out of malice. They're just doing it because that's what they do. That's what they're programmed to do. Django says, for me, back to school blues is worse due to my depression, sometimes insufferable teachers. Yeah, I'm the same boat, and I hated school. So, yeah. If you find yourself starting to moan about everything, you've definitely caught England, says Dave Cardboard. Or you've just definitely caught Fox, because that's what I do. I moan all the time about on live streams. George says, I like being at work personally. Weekends are the rough time. It depends what your job is. I would have loved to have had... I mean, there were in my entire... Because I became a working man in, 1990? So it's been 30 years now. And of that, 25 of that maybe actual working jobs. The last 5 years I've been doing this. And in all that time, I've probably had one job that I actually enjoyed and that I would look forward to. And it sounds really weird, but that was when I was... Because there's always been office call centre jobs. They've all been just crap. But I did one job for a couple of years where I was working for a company that did alarm call services. If you're outside the UK, you might not know what these are, but in old folks' homes, elderly care homes and sheltered housing, they have like pull cords. So if in most of the rooms, so if like an elderly person slips and falls or has an emergency, they can pull the cord, which goes all down to the floor. They pull the cord. They might not be able to get to the phone to dial 999, but they can pull the cord. And it automatically makes a call to a control centre. And at the control centre, you answer the call, you find out what the problem is. Often it was just somebody pulled the cord by mistake. But sometimes it was something serious, and somebody had fallen, or they'd had a fall, or somebody was ill. These are all like elderly residents. And this was over the all sheltered housing across the whole country. And that job was a call centre work. It was 24-hour-a-day service. So sometimes it was working nights, sometimes it was working days. But I actually enjoyed it because... It was a call centre job. Is that a spider? Oh, wait. Let's see if I can zoom in. Hang on. Look, I've got a dude. Oh, come here. Go that way. Your public want to see you. Let's see if I can zoom in. Hang on. Creature incoming. Come on. There you go. Go towards the spot. There you go. Come on. That way. Say hello to model making tiny thing. I don't know what he is. You need to go this way now so I can blow you off the desk. I don't want to squish you. Little dude, I don't want to squish you. Go on. Keep going. You've got wings. Can you not fly? Go on. I'm trying to shepherd him off the side of the desk now. Go on. I want to just blow you off the room. I'll rephrase that. I want to blow you off the desk. I want to... Just go on. Use them wings, little dude. Come on. You can't see me now, but I'm just trying to usher him towards the edge of the desk. That's it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. No, not that. Oh! He's being feisty now. Oh, there you go. You can fly. See, idiot. Special guest. There we go. Anyway, where was it? Yes, so... a lot of the time you'd pull the cord and it would just be an accident, but sometimes it would be serious stuff. Sometimes you'd have to call the police or the ambulance or whatever. They had wardens on site, but sometimes it would be stuff they'd middle of the night and they'd pull the cord. They'd need medical help, right? So we'd be calling ambulances, but it was a call centre job, but I was doing something worthwhile and I was doing something I could be proud of. I was helping people. So I actually enjoyed it. I loved that job. It was a great job. They had a great group of people that I worked with. Even working nights, it was great because it sounds really bad, but this is like early 2000s, I'd take my Xbox, my original OG Xbox, I'd take that in and play games, because in the night shift you might get 10 calls. So you had to be there in case somebody fell or needed emergency, but you weren't going to get many calls. So I just sit and play on my Xbox all night. But yeah, that was a job I adored, because it was doing something important. I wasn't just answering people's calls about their phone bills, which was mind-numbing bull crap. Just, oh God. So yeah, anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. So that is a job I did enjoy, even working nights on. It was I wouldn't say it was fun, but it was enjoyable because I was doing good and I was doing a helpful thing for people. And the old people were lovely. A lot of them were like, oh, I'm really sorry I pulled the cord. They were lovely people. And you're looking after people. That's why I liked it. Every other job I had was absolute garbage. And yes, there were some hard calls sometimes. There were sometimes it was hard stuff you had to deal with that wasn't very nice, but you still felt you were doing good. Quick last look at the chat because I'm dying for a wee now. Contrast to you're going to cheat, says David Butch, that model about my... No, it's because it's just I'm taking the shorter route. If I've got to paint 30 of these guys, I ain't painting them one by one. No. George Gabriel says Tau are for the greater good. Yeah, they are. When we're talking about like bad guys, Tau, they are kind of the greater good, but they still want to subjugate all the other species under their greater good. So they're kind of, you could say they're kind of like the British Empire, kind of Victorian, let's go and take over these countries and subjugate them, maybe, kind of, which is not bad, but it's not good. It's not, there's no real, everybody's a grey area. I mean, Chaos are obviously bad, but hey, I don't know, it's hard. There's no real good guys there. Raging Bass says, after the stream, what do I watch? Christmas Vacation, Elf, Scroll, Muppets Christmas Carol, Jingle All the Way. All of those are rubbish apart from Muppets Christmas Carol. And by Muppets Christmas Carol, I mean just the Muppet movie, because that's the best one. Just go and watch the Muppet movie. Rainbow Connection. There you go. Big old car. But don't forget, like Chris says, of course, once this show is finished, 8 PM tonight, I finish my show. Chris does his Warhammer show at 8 PM on his channel, Gross Models. Do make sure once you've watched this and got on handy tea that you do watch Chris's show. He's working on his weird knob, on his it's a orc weird knob with the war boar. It's quite cool. Go and have a look. That's 8 PM tonight on Chris's channel, Gross Models. I like being at work, says Lewis, but I also enjoy the first 10 minutes being home when my kids come and give me a big hug out, but after 10 minutes they start fighting again, then normal service is resumed. Yeah. Everybody's saying Muppets every time. Name him Boris. All spiders are called Boris. It wasn't a spider, it was a little flying dude. He's gone now, though. Django says, you know what would make my life nicer? Dealing the final strike to the stream boss. Never won any kind of model kit giveaway. Well, it's like we said, like I said, at the end of the day, it's a lot of it's the reason it's so quiet at the minute. I mean, we've got rid of all these, but to here, the reason it's so quiet is because we're in the mid area, and it always goes slow during the mid area. It's when it starts to get towards potentially winning that people start to win. And keep in mind, Si is the current stream boss because he dropped down 250 quid on the last Aviad was the stream boss, and Simon Reynolds was like, you know what? Bam, there's 250 quid, and it just wiped Aviad out. Now, you might think, well, that's a lot of money, but he paid 250 quid, and he got 500 quid worth of Warhammer stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, it's always quiet at this point, because you've got all. It's like watching an eBay auction. It goes quiet until the last 10 minutes, and then everybody starts sniping, and then it starts. It's just the fun of it. It's all tactics. Do you put a lot of money down and win now, or do you wait longer so you can put less money down and potentially win, but know that somebody might just blop a whole load of money on there and go bing like Simon and be like, bab, 200 quid, done, I've won. And everybody else is like, oh, jeez, that's the game, you see, that's the fun. George Gabriel says, this is a family show. I don't think you're supposed to be blowing dudes. It's not a family show, not really. I just don't swear because I want the money. Not aimed at kids. Look, blades, solvents, glue, coffee, errant puffins, not aimed at kids. No. So Ian's car says, right, going now, Baal. I know you've already gone, but thanks for coming in, Ian's car. I appreciate you coming by. See you next week. You don't get that with Sigmar. Nagash is the good guy, says David Butcher. I know nothing about Sigmar. At this point, says Space Hamster, I'm not sure I want to win any model kits. I already have too many. There is that. There is that. Don't forget, though, ultimately, I don't actually care what you do with the model kits you get. And do keep this in mind. You could win, I don't know, 300 or 400 quid or whatever to spend on Games Workshop stuff, and it gets delivered to you. What do you do with it when you get it? I don't care. Build it, sell it. It's up to you. It's just a bit of fun, that's all. Frankie Goes Forward says bye-bye and a happy new week. Take care of yourself, Frankie. You can never have too many, says George, about kits. Exactly. Exactly. When Space Hamster says, at this point, I'm not sure I want to win any model kits. I already have too many. Muse says, said no one ever. It's true. It's true. Here's some free stuff. No, actually, I've got to tell you. Working in retail for a little while, there have been situations in one job I was doing where I've said to somebody, here is some free stuff, and they've gone, nah. And I've been like, it's free. Here are some free things. Nah, you're right, mate. I'm like, I don't understand. I have had situations where I've tried to give people stuff free and they'd be like, nah, it's all right. It's like, it's not herpes, it's free stuff you can use. It was car detailing products. Special offer, buy that, get that free. Nah. Okay. Weird. There are people that do that. Anyway, what time are we on? 4 minutes past 6. There you go. It's been about 3 hours now. We started late. We'll finish late. I've done one dude. I do suck. I do, yeah. So he'll be stored away once I'll let him dry overnight, and we'll get the other two guys finished later on, maybe. He'll be stored like that and kept separate for painting. But that is going to do us. So, let me just wrap up by, first of all, as always, thanking my three main groups of people. First of all, my lovely, lovely, lovely patrons, including Andy. Thank you very much. My lovely patrons who do keep me alive and paying the bills and supplement my wages nicely. So thank you massively to all my patrons who do support me. If you want to help out, like Andy did, not Streamlabs, patreon.com/model making guru. That's the place to go. And of course to Goblin Gaming, who your one-stop shop for tabletop model making needs. The link in the description below the video. They are there in the chat as always. Use that link. Don't use just the website address. If you use that link, it tells them I sent you, and I earn a little bit of money from that, from you placing your. It doesn't cost you a penny. I just get a little bit of commission. So if you're going to go and buy stuff from them, use that link. And also, of course, my very good friends over at emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. Lots of savings to be had at both of those. All links in the description below the video. And thanks to everybody tonight who's done a super chat and all that kind of bits and bobs, and to patrons, thank you very much. All that money is going into the pot that one of you lucky dudes or dudettes will win when you win the Stream Boss Battle. Anyway, that's going to do me. I need to go make the curry now because I'm starving. Space Hamster's going to make a big fat salad because Space Hamster likes big fat salad. I had one for last night. Your belly gets massive, you do a big fart, wake up in the morning, and belly's gone. Perfect. That's why I like salad. Anyway, I'm talking really fast now because I'm starving. I need a great big wee. But yes, anyway, take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget Chris's stream at 8 PM tonight on the Gross Models channel. We'll see you all on Monday as well for the eModels live show. We don't know if Ted will be with us yet. He's still getting his computer fixed. We don't know. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Ted will be back with us. But we shall see. But anyway, yes, take care of yourselves. Go make something also. Also? No, not also. I'll start that again. That didn't work. Oh, my buttons have gone off. Hang on. I need to reset my buttons. Oh, wait. Oh, hang on. My buttons have sleeped. Don't sleep on my buttons. Wait. No, that didn't work. Now I look like an idiot. More than an idiot than I normally do. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, so there's Goblin Gaming. I wonder why the things didn't come up in the chat. Do you know? I don't know. There's eModels. In the chat. There we go. There we go. And of course, what I was trying to allude to then was... Slap it on! Ted, but the button didn't work, did it? There you go. Anyway, yes. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. We've still got 42 people. It's the magic number. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you later for Chris's show. Until next time, go make something awesome. Like this. Go be awesome. You there. You be awesome. You know you're awesome anyway. Because you watch this show. I don't know why I tell you that. And until next time, adios amoebas. Where's the button? I've got to find the button. Oh, it's the... there we go. That's the one. Adios, amoebas.